Well, listen, it is now a couple minutes after 2. We're going to have our first annual preliminary workshop for the budget process, and I just wanted to make sure that we included the whole Elkton team in this process. I think everyone realizes by charter it is the mayor's budget. And I'll be the one, well, you can certainly bring that up too, but we all know that I'll be the one pounded good, bad, or indifferent for it, and it does come down to that. But everyone's input is very important in this process. We want to make sure that when we get to the voting process, we're all very supportive, even though we may not agree on everything that we're going to do, but in general, we'll be part of it. So, Mary Jo?
I was actually going to read from the charter, but if you've already said it.
What would you like to say?
I just want to say thank you for allowing us to be a part of this, because it is the mayor's budget. It says it right here on C11, page 11, C12. And we adopt it as the board, but I just wanted to say thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Your input is very important. And I think what everyone has with them, every department has provided in general, operating budget for fiscal year 2016 coming up, as well as we have the green bar paper, which also lists each department in here. Just wanted to find Chip's department.
240.
240.
That is on page 12 here, somewhere.
220, not 220, 240.
240, page 12.
I got it. Okay, I got 240. So it makes it a little bit easier to see everything that Chip put into this is on the green bar. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's 240.
Very good. And Chip, this is the purpose of this is to kind of give us an understanding. We can kind of go page by page. We can kind of go through it. I don't know what kind of notes everyone has, but it'll be a pretty quick process. We see what was the actual budget for 2013, 2014, where we're at in 2015, and what's been budgeted for 2016. I guess if there's anything that's any capital, or if there's anything that's above and beyond what we have had in the past, kind of inform us as we go through. And if any of the board members has any questions or comments about any specific line item that's in here, certainly feel free to screen and Chip.
Actually, there's a minor correction. The 2013-2014 columns were the actual expenditures for those years. When you look at the other two columns, we're looking at the actual expenditures so far to date compared with the budget for the current year. So 2015, there's both the budget for the current year and the expenditures at this point in time. The 2014-2013 columns are the actual expenditures for the year.
Gotcha. So Chip, we're going to kind of flip through. It's not going to take us but a few seconds here. So we're on page 1. Let's see, salary, regular, overtime. I think, I'm not exactly sure, time spent for non-salary employees to study the code accreditation. Is this more of a classroom item or?
Yeah, this was put in, to allow extra time for a code enforcement person a couple of years ago, as busy as he was, to study. And we haven't really been using that since, but we've kept it in there in case we needed it.
And I think if everyone looks at the green bar, you'll see anything to do with salaries is not actually on the green bar. Okay, let's see, object
And
line.
it also covers Breeze time for BZA, the overtime there, and any other regular overtime we would have.
Well, you know, it's glad that you kind of brought up the word overtime. I think in years past, we always talked about, not necessarily you, I want to kind of bring it all together so the board understands it at the same page as I am. You know, we talk about, over the years, when I've been sitting out there and I've been listening in about overtime, how do you budget for overtime? And I've always felt the same way. I said, well, why would you budget for overtime? You know, why would that happen? But this is the actual number that we had from the previous years when you look at the overtime number. For example, right now, we're running a lot of overtime for Public Works, for example. And that'll be budgeted money. So if we already know and are speculating, why not have it in there? So I think that that's the important part of this is we don't have to put overtime in the process, but we're gonna have to do a budget amendment somewhere if we don't kind of put that into the theory behind it. So that's why it's there.
Right, we know we'll have it at minimally with the board zoning appeals.
Yes.
Otherwise we won't have it.
2 is the professional services, which there's our counsel, and of course Lisa Hamilton, and you're just estimating that 24 cases before the Board of Appeals equals that amount of money.
Right. Yeah, where was Mr. Wilson's fees coming out of before?
His should have been in this.
Well, we didn't have
No,
Steve.
yeah, he was, actually, Chip has requested this based on, well, of course, his estimate, but actually this would be transferred to salaries, because this is actually a salary item, and there's no salaries in here.
Well,
Mr. Wilson would be in here, anyway, he'd be under
Administration.
Administration.
Yeah, but he didn't provide
So
what
we're
the board zoning appeals
Mr.
are
Downs under, we're gonna keep Mr. Downs under 240 then? Or are we gonna switch him over to?
Is Cameron the attorney for this, or
No.
Who is it now?
Well, Lisa Hamilton, John.
Okay.
That would be his third line.
Lisa's will be under.
But-
Yeah, her salary, their salary.
Right, that's for the board zoning
Yeah,
appeals.
Sorry.
I guess what the question is, in the past, this would have been, last year's, it would have showed whoever the attorney was, who was the attorney.
Jason Allison.
Jason Allison would have been, and
That would have been salaries, yeah.
line item 13, professional services, well, there wasn't even,
That's why I
Well,
said.
it's
still apples and oranges, 'cause-
Yeah.
Like timeout, where was it? before?
there's no number in here
Well,
for,
a while ago, before the IRS audit, the DQ board treated it as contracted, and they were discharged to line item 13, which is not a salary wage. As a result of an IRS audit, all these people are classified as employees, so they are now paid out of salary account.
does everyone understand exactly what that meant?
Yep.
And before, we would just write them out, this would be
They would have been
now
paid
a
through-
salary item.
Right, they would have been paid through accounts payable chapter and not through payroll, but they are now all paid through payroll.
Very good, I think postage is self-explanatory, about 50 letters a year, right?
Yeah, we try to hold that down because we typically have a lot more than that, but we're going to try to keep that down somewhat.
Page 4, you got travel and meals, really, that's not a lot.
No, it's just if we have to go, sometimes we have to go further distances for these seminars, and that's when that comes in.
And if anyone has any questions, stop me, because I'm going to kind of be blowing right on through this. Advertisement, of course, that's a given, that's about $110 every time you advertise, correct?
For the board zoning appeals.
And we may do 12 cases, we may do 48 cases.
Yeah, it's hard to predict.
Gotcha. Number 6, dues and subscriptions, journal, light magazine, and so forth, that's just your normal,
It keeps us updated on new techniques that are out there, different things, and of course, all our memberships, which we have to have.
is these magazines actual magazines, or are they web magazines?
Both, we get the hard copy and on the web.
Let's see, number 7, repairs and maintenance,
Yeah, we're,
item 27. So you're projecting a little bit more than what you had in the past, and I guess the biggest expense there, of course, is the set of tires.
yeah, it's just the Durango, hopefully we're going to replace that in this coming budget.
And I see your car wash drops, they're very minimal in cost, but is there anything that the maintenance can do, or you can do like wash it down rather than take it there, or you do those items as well?
No, we generally just take it to a car
Okay.
wash.
Very good. Contracted service, rental of the Xerox copier. Now, 3 departments, what 3 departments are those?
That would be
Finance,
building
planning,
and building and planning.
This one back in the, we call the break room.
Is that the norm that we've been doing, is we lease the copiers?
Oh,
I
yeah.
see that all through the whole
And we
system.
get, that's the state,
Yeah.
and that's the state contract that we get the bid from.
Very good. All right, electrical inspections, I'm not exactly sure what that was.
Well, that's now that after they changed the way they handle this with the county, if we need an electrical inspector to come look at, like a apartment with violations, we have to pay them to come look at it. So generally, we'll try to recoup those funds, which we have done. We'll bill the property owner, so a lot of times it comes back. But it's just to have it there so that we can pay it out of when we need it.
So for example, if it was a building on Route 40 and it was decaying, or there's some issues, and we call the electrical inspector and they're gonna bill us.
Yes.
And then, gotcha. And then we would try and
Yeah,
return.
and we pay them and then we bill the owner.
Okay, number 10, engineering services. Let's see. This was, you mentioned to me, this is kind of the lot review.
Yeah, and civil engineering plans, proposed grading plans, and then the as-built after, project's done.
Okay.
To review that.
And we currently send all this to KCI.
Yes.
We didn't do anything in 14.
Should. What happens with the building with that, for some reason, that gets put into planning?
Congratulations.
That's all we did.
So you make out pretty good.
Yeah.
Chip says you're welcome.
Very good, all right. Well, we know exactly what it is, and that's the purpose of this, so we can all understand this a little bit better. Or at least I can understand it a little bit better. Supplies is supplies.
Yeah, pretty standard.
And page 12, let's see. Alrighty, minor equipment, you're looking at maybe $400 really. That's, you're just gonna buy something as you need it.
Yeah.
If something doesn't break down. Training and education, certification tests and so forth, online, doesn't seem unrealistic. In fact, as I mentioned at the commissioners meeting, I would almost like to see plan on going to that World of Concrete event or the World of Paving, some type of trade show to maybe gather some additional experience.
This old house?
Yes, yeah. And the court reporter is what it is. If we have 24 cases, it's a cost of that amount of money. It's a budgeted amount, could be higher, could be lower based on the cases.
And we collect that.
The reason we have a court reporter is because those cases are appealable to the circuit court and you need a transcript. So that's why you do it.
And the last item, you're requesting to replace the 2 vehicles, but you're with 1. Is that correct? You want to get rid of the Dodge Durango and the Crown Victoria, or are you looking for 2 vehicles, or are you looking for 1?
Just one vehicle. Where did the Crown Victoria? That might have been a carryover from last year.
Was that a
Yeah,
carryover?
that should be left.
Okay, so
Doesn't change
one,
what you're requesting.
Yeah.
and I see here it's a 1.5 ton pickup. Help me understand the
One
size.
half-ton.
1.5 ton, okay,
Yes.
gotcha. All right, very good. Now that makes a lot more sense.
And I may try to find a sport utility vehicle for the same price if it fits what our needs a little bit more. Because we had one new pickup truck that we got in this year's budget, and then the Focus was wrecked, and we replaced that with a pickup truck. So we had 2 pickup trucks. So I'm going to possibly, if I can get for the same amount of money, a 2-wheel drive sport utility vehicle. Has more room inside for us to store paperwork and things.
Is there anything that you didn't include in your budget that you think that if you had it, it would improve the quality of our residents' lives?
I don't think so. I went over again and said, looked at that. We've got it all.
Very good. Any questions for Chip?
One thing came to mind was just to ask, for some of the students that are in the county that are looking to seek the same department in the field for work that are graduating. Have we ever thought of taking some interns and working with them and maybe as a tutoring, mentoring program? So that if we have somebody good in the field, that we can bring them into the town, and let them work with us.
I haven't thought of that, no.
Well,
Actually, I'm very supportive of that. I think it would be great that if you could work with, I don't think Cecil College has an engineering
It's
department.
I thought for like the
UD
high
probably
school,
does.
that someone's graduating and looking to go into the same department, a field of work.
It just, our minimum requirements though would kind of be,
Well, I should have said summer help. That's where
Oh,
I'm leading
okay.
to. That would give them, provide them some guidance into this field.
Okay.
And then maybe they're seeing the work.
I think like the School of Technology also, you know,
There you go.
with some interns that would follow you around. I know Krause Brothers, they hired people from, well, they hired, but I'm sure they have to do intern work as well.
Mhm.
But I think, look at their class schedule, I think that's a great idea.
We didn't budget for that. Usually,
No, I'm saying
an intern gets a minimum salary of some sort.
Well,
Yep.
some have to do community hours
said not
also.
budget.
Oh, I thought it was something an intern.
Yeah.
Usually an internship
There would
just
be,
paid money, like for an engineer.
insurance costs, I guess, workers' comp, and insurance costs for,
Well, you
going
do
out on these
cover,
jobs.
they'd be employees, part-time employees, covered by workers' comp and everything else. But
I mean,
what I'm saying, we probably have to pay them some kind of money.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you that work study at the VOTEC, I went through school there as a welder, and I had opportunities to work in the,
Yeah. My brother did that.
and of course, it gets them out of school for a few hours, and they can come here, and maybe it might be a field they like.
I
They
think
know-
it would benefit them if they're going into the building fields to go out, just to walk through the sites with us and see what it actually looks like.
Yeah, see what it's like. Well, let's consider that.
Do you know what your total revenue was
No, I don't.
for 14? Do we have a final 114 yet?
We're
I
going
feel like a
to,
broken record.
couple more, or one more legal letter to get the final. And not do this when sitting around the table. One more.
Why is everybody doing their job?
No, it's not. Wait for a legal letter to get the final.
Do you know what the revenue was for his department?
I don't know that we wrote it all.
Okay.
Thank you, Chip.
Well,
Thank you.
And Chief, can you allow us to do Mary and Parks and Rec real quick? So I know Earl's on the tight schedule, and he's getting remarried today.
Can we start that? Won't I wake up here?
Oh. You're looking good. I wanted to let you know that. One of the real quick things while we're doing the budget, and we've got a long way to go. This is the very first process of it, but I know sitting out in the back of the meeting room the last several years, I think DJ was here more often than I was, quite frankly, and I was addressed, and I wanted to touch this on fund balance real quickly for everyone to put this in their mind as we go through this. I know 2 years ago, I was fairly critical of the mayor and commissioners putting over $900,000 of the fund balance into the general fund to kind of support the budget. And you know, when you're listening to it out there and you start worrying about, okay, at this pace, we're going to have to raise taxes in X amount of years. You really do. You start to believe that. And I'm happy to say that $942,000 of fund balance that was put in the budget in 14 budget was never used. So that 900 plus that, well, there's several reasons. One, we weren't 100% up to, I would say 100% up to all the employees that we needed. We weren't full staff. There was grants that came in after the fact. There's there's other keys, and Steve could probably answer all of those.
Well, just a combination of favorable variances and revenue, meaning we got more revenue in some areas, particularly property taxes, than we budgeted, coupled with favorable variances in expenditures, meaning we spent less than we had budgeted, primarily from unfilled or budgeted positions, police department being at the top there, and public works to some extent.
And I'd like to say, where we're at in 2015 budget, the mayor and commissioners had put $750,000 in the fund balance into the general fund, and for the same reasons, we're starting to believe that none of that money will be spent either. So, in general, we're thinking that we may have a fund balance of a little over $4 million.
Well, we're currently coming into this year, again, not finalized, just budget short of $5 million coming into this year, so, what we'll have available for next year will be what we don't spend out of this year minus what we budget in 16.
So, the good news is, the fund balance isn't going the wrong way,
Which is,
right?
which right now is.
So it had been going the wrong
About
way.
4 months worth
And,
of
you know, I was
expenditure.
one of the critical ones out in the audience a couple of years ago, and I have to say that it comes back to this. I will say this. We've overbilled our customers. And I want to bring that up. If we've got that kind of money sitting there, I want to say, I'm not looking at any tax decreases here, but I want to say, it comes back to, I believe that we have overtaxed a little bit. Now, I'm going to bring this all back together, please. Okay, I'm going to bring it all back together here. But I believe that we can improve, we've got this money, we can improve our services. We could actually pay cash for a rec center. But let's go on to recreation.
Well, you know, years ago, and I'll always say this for those who don't realize it, they used to say you should have 15% of your
Budget?
budget
In reserve.
in reserve. Well, so then they said when things got really bad, they put it up to 25%. So 25%, we're talking about $3 million.
You were.
So,
We've done a study, it was 2 years ago, to
Yeah.
see how many
Yeah.
people local.
My point of contention with that, you know, throwing the numbers around, if you would have spent the money that you allotted, and that's the whole thing, if the police department would have hired those people, if DPW would have hired those people, we wouldn't be sitting here saying that. And some of the grants that we got was found money. I was walking down the street and all of a sudden the CDG grant, we got a little over $2 million, right?
Yeah, but that wouldn't, we're talking general fund.
We are,
That's
I understand.
Yeah.
It's the same principle though, that it's found money that's coming back into this that we just didn't spend, that we did budget for though. And that's,
Well, again, the primary driving force again was unfilled positions, budgeted but unfilled positions. And
Very good. I just wanted to put all that in your guys' ears real quick before I went on to, so when I make the pitch for something, you know, I just wanted to let everyone know. Okay, Barry, you're on. I'm looking at, and I'm looking at page 1 of your overview.
okay, page 16 for those following on the.
Page
printout.
16.
Department number 500, participation.
All right, let me get the 500, got it. Page 500. All right, once again, go into your, nope.
thank you for your justifications, explanations on it. I appreciate that.
Looking at your overview, the only thing initially, before we get started, I'm looking at, you know, you have a total overview cost of about $188,000, projected revenue of about $131,000. I have to say that you've closed that gap over the years.
That doesn't, that's what I budget, that doesn't include what finance turns into my budget, so, there's more to my budget.
There
than
is.
that.
Full-time employee.
There's full-time employees, and I don't do the
Sure.
postage, because they figure that one out for me, and there's some other things, so, but that's, yes.
So let's go, kind of the page 2 is just normal advertisement.
Yeah, and in the past, that was kind of taken away and turned into office supplies, but we want to separate that back out, that we're using that for advertising.
Okay.
So it probably said 0 there before. Possibly.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. That's more my budget.
Page 3, the dues and subscriptions. What's M, what's the M?
National Recreation Park.
Very
And then
good.
Maryland Recreation Park.
Very good. Page 4, I see that you want to, new surfacing of all the play equipment.
Well, that's just, when it floods, we have to replace it, so we just keep that in there in case we have to replace the surfacing.
Okay. The truck routine maintenance, that, I didn't know you had a truck. I guess
Well,
you did.
it's currently being used by somebody else, but that's okay.
Okay.
That's somebody else.
Does somebody else what?
Chip,
Chip, oh, Chip's using yours.
well,
It's
somebody,
available until
somebody,
summer, so the.
when, yeah, we take it back in the summer.
Okay, very good. Maintenance of the lights and miscellaneous supplies to work on the parks. The page 5, contracted service, portable toilets seem to be the, one of our biggest expense. That's touched to your department with the amount of units that we have. And I brought up one time before, many, many years ago, is if we could get that restroom operational at the park, but the downside of that is, I think we went through that experience many times.
Right, exactly.
It was a nightmare to keep that thing heated and the water going, and it just wasn't a good scene. I think we're using it for storage now.
Mm-hmm.
Are you storing stuff in there?
Well, in the summer.
Why the increase in your budget? You've never come close to 12.1.
Well, those are the costs of the portable toilets. We may, one thing is, Cecil County Public Schools is gonna start charging us to use their
So that was
facilities.
the addition.
Okay, that's the initial 15. Okay.
Yeah,
That's-
So the custodial service for the winter programs, the
And we-
dance recital
yeah,
and
we paid
basketball.
for that, well, we paid for some of that if it's on the weekends. But the weeknight stuff is, we've never paid for, but we're going to have to start paying for that.
The
They
schools
make my
made that
softball team do
decision.
that.
Yeah.
Well,
See,
it's new for everyone this year.
I know, but there's a question about that, as a taxpayer myself, we are paid to keep these schools open. And we should have the right to use our schools for international, public, not public, Parks and Rec. It's not because of that, it's just that I checked through a couple of schools locally, and there's a lot of people that are renting that are not even taxpayers in the county. And to me, that's a no-no. Now, I know there's some things going on with the budget in the county, and I don't want to get into that. But the problem is as a taxpayer, I have a right to use that school. I've already paid my taxes for that school. So the use for recreation, it's something that I would like to challenge the school board for, because regardless to their budget, it's something that I don't think is right for not just town of Elkton, for any county citizen in the school, because they have to show an increase someplace, so they want to tax their residents again for their kids to use the gym. Now they can't use it, now they're out on the streets causing trouble again, and that's where, as a battle for me.
I think you're right, but as a pro educator, I think, you know, if you look at the routine maintenance of the custodians at night, if she's coming in to use a room or a part of a building, you know, you've got to send your people down there, you've got to clean it up, she's got to come in, you've got to then come back and you got to re-clean that room again. So sometimes you take them out of the way, and I guess that's the reason why there's a charge. And there's pros and cons.
I hear that part, but the problem is, they're already doing their job throughout the school at night. There's someone there throughout the night, through the evening that it's being used. Now, as far as, I've been to Giltman Manor, I've been to Cecil Manor, and they have a section blocked off where it's just the use of the facilities for the gymnasium. Now, that's just, a part of the building, but the custodians are there working their job, their evening shift, whatever. I still have a problem with it.
That's another reason we need our own.
There you go. You just.
I'm sorry to go on with
Oh,
that.
see, I like that. I like this, all right.
Sorry.
And it's not, what they're charging is very minimal, it's just the amount of time that we're in the schools that adds up, so.
It's $15, $15 to $25, right?
I don't know, it was like 5.
Oh, is it?
It was, I
They came
mean,
down
10,
a bit.
yeah, they brought it down some. Well,
They were charging 15 or 25.
well, maybe you, but us.
Ah.
It was, they have it based on different organizations.
They do,
So-
and the YMCA and.
And then, yeah, like some of the after, the YMCA, like after school programs, we're not charging them at all, because it's,
Okay, I see your supplies, and you've actually brought that down somewhat from one year to the other. Page 7, looking at supplies and operating, the only thing that really kind of popped out at me was the dog bags.
yep.
Now, is that I mean, is there bags at the facility that people use to pick up?
Yeah.
We have them in,
Well,
we have them at the dog park and then in the parks too.
is, let me ask this question, for that amount of money, are they, people taking them home with them? Or would we know?
No, it's the box
No,
is locked.
they take one.
Well, they can pull-
walk the
well, they can
dog
pull
around the
multiple,
track or
yeah.
something,
No, they
and
could do
then-
that.
They could,
No
but
one's
yeah.
gonna take the whole box.
Then they
Good
keep
sandwich bags, I think.
I just thought it was a lot of money in
Well,
dog bags.
we were writing down how often they were just, they've had to restock them and we were going through them pretty quick.
How much are they?
Put a big roll on.
Well, we have 2 different kinds of dispensers too. I don't know what they were.
They're expensive, they're biodegradable, and I usually walk my dog.
Well, I thought it was just interesting to see that number. I thought it was,
It would be a lot more if people actually used them all the time.
well, that's what I'm saying, if they use them all the time, yeah. Now's the best time to go pick it up, though.
You don't need a bag now, what's the case?
The ice bags, are they, the reusables?
No, the break, the disposable ones, just for like having out at the gyms or out the park, we don't
Right,
have
okay.
access to.
Do you have an AED?
A what?
AED, automatic electronic defibrillator?
No. And there's one in the
Police
building.
does. You
Yeah,
have
the
one.
police department, I
Yeah,
know,
okay.
there's no, you guys do.
We should probably look at getting one.
Well, I know that the school
Can you
system
train them?
requires, well, the police department can train.
We're trained.
Gap,
Our staff is
Officer
trained.
Gappy, right?
Yeah, they all have.
Giappy, sorry.
Yes,
For
yeah.
having all these
Yeah,
recreational
if you got 'em,
activities, we probably should have
provide
something.
training, yes.
Would that be of value, or, I mean,
It's just
Yeah,
that
it would
we're-
be a value.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you deal with kids, and, yeah, it would be.
The school system requires it. All athletic events you have to have.
The school system
I'm just thinking if
requires it
our
as well as,
locations-
staff people as well.
Well, you gotta
That's
see
all.
what your liability is, what parents sign. Whether,
I know with AEDs, there is, the Good Samaritan laws, there is no liability. You could, and the new ones, you couldn't mess up anyhow, they all talk to you, and if it's a shockable,
He's
occasion
dying.
or not.
I think, Ed,
Even if you did it
I have
wrong,
to say that's
there's
something you might
nothing
want
that
to put
anybody
in,
could do to you.
Okay.
put in the
There's federal
numbers.
laws protecting the person trying to do that.
Maybe have it in the Chips truck. You'll have it in the Chips truck, I guess.
That way you get it in the summer.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And the supplies and
That's
operating,
just
if it is.
the-
can anyone have them?
Yeah.
I mean,
We can
like,
train.
I know we cannot dispense medication, inhalers, nothing.
Right.
The AEDs, enhancing CPRs.
Right,
Yeah.
so it would,
So,
okay.
anybody
say,
who's trained
yeah,
to do
I
it.
can do it.
Yeah.
I get with it all the time.
Yeah, I had the class, so I.
The huge increase of what you've actually spent to what you're requesting, is it because potentially more kids coming that you're gonna need more supplies?
Our class,
I'm still on supplies and operating.
well, every year I request about the same amount and it just kept getting cut. So I just thought I'd try
You're aiming
again.
high.
Well, that's what happened. I put it in there, it
Probably
gets cut,
happened
and then
again.
we're like, yeah, so.
All right, 35, your minor equipment, of course, went up also. Basketball clocks, remote lock for main door. What's the remote lock
Okay.
for the main door?
If you ever sat in our office all day, it's a little bit,
You're talking about yours, understand. I think,
Just a little bit.
I would agree with that.
scary, a little bit scary sitting in our office all day.
Huh?
Right next door to their office.
Should be a buzzer
People
in.
can
Yeah,
wander in.
we wanted
Yeah.
to see if there's somebody getting like a buzz in. It's just a little bit scary sitting
I
there.
got it.
Especially if you actually pay attention to what's going on outside. And then the other thing is, at night, we're offering dance classes in our office, and that's even worse. People just open up the door, what's going on in here? Can we join? And the instructor locks the door. So then we have to unlock it every time somebody comes
I understand.
Who uses your field paint?
in. Soccer, T-ball,
So who puts it down?
we do.
Okay.
Okay, page 9, you've got a couple conferences that you've attended and want to attend. Uniforms. And that would be for the programs, of course.
Part-time students.
Understand? Okay, page 11, program equipment. The one item that initially jumped out at me was I didn't realize the expense of the dance costumes. I was over there the one day when you were hand sewing costumes with all the material that they were getting in general, but when you look at the amount of money that that program brings in, that's probably one of your most popular programs.
And we charge them for their costumes.
Okay.
So we bring in the money that we.
Yeah, that's just expense
Yeah.
class, but we get a revenue.
We bring
Get a revenue on the dance. It seems like your dance is probably one of your most
Yep.
successful.
Dancing and summer camp.
With your 20 basketballs, are those girl size, boy size, or combination thereof?
So combination,
Okay.
that's just an estimate. We bought some balls a couple years ago, nobody liked them, so we thought we'd try.
Okay.
All right, yeah, go ahead, DJ.
You've never seen, last year you asked for 20, this year for 23, almost 24 grand. You've never come close to that. Is it just aiming high again?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, one thing I do, I
Appreciate
don't know
your
how many,
honesty.
I don't know how many kids are gonna sign up for the programs. So like one year we had, one year we'll have 150 kids for basketball, next year we'll have 120, then we'll bounce back up to 160. I just don't,
Well, you can average it out at
yeah,
what,
that's
35?
what we just kind of go in the,
Okay.
just don't know it.
And once again, you're asking us, this is a budget number, and it doesn't mean that she's gonna spend whatever she asks for, or if we're gonna give you everything you ask for.
Right.
You have the basketball program going now, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Last week, well, one more week to go.
And I was gonna make a few comments, but nothing negative. From the basketball, don't worry, it's a surprise to you. It's a good thing.
Okay.
You added for referees for your basketball for in here, right?
And our salaries, yeah.
Yeah. And tell them exactly how much you actually spent out.
Oh, I don't know, this year? I don't know because I had somebody volunteer.
There's the point.
I had
Thank
somebody
you.
volunteer.
Who was that?
First of all, I would like to give him recognition.
He was-
Jay Combs. He volunteered almost every
He's a nice
game
man.
for the Parks and Rec volunteer.
He
And-
did not want to be,
and-
and he wanted to volunteer, he did not want
And
to.
the reason why I'm saying that, I try to get to almost every game, even though I go to work that night. It's rough. But,
His son-
Joe Manor, Tom State, wherever you know, he's gonna jump there and volunteer. We're talking about maybe 4 games throughout the night, up and down, because he's staying in shape for so many years. But anyway, the point I'm making is, if you go to YMCA, they're paying $20, $30 a game for referees, a game. And that's how much money he's saving the Parks and Rec a night. So I would like to at least include.
His injured was.
We do need to get him
include-
something.
Oh, that's what I do. Include the cost of a referee, because the program, stay focused with me, because this is where the part that we really got to tighten up on, is going to do that program. Parents are discouraged because sometimes we have referees that don't even know the game, trying to do the game, and I've been there. Sometimes we have games without a referee, and the parents are discouraged. We're going to lose the program. So I've had some talk with a few parents, but the thing is, that's where we need to focus on in order to tighten up the program. Make sure we got good quality, not every call that we're looking for, it's just the obvious ones. So I just want to share it with you, even though it's something negative, it's,
I would donate my time one night.
I can donate my time as well. I'll even train them if needs be.
There we go. How do you like that?
That'd be one of the guys
you
making.
guys,
I'm sure we could get some
We got that
members
on
of the
record,
police
right?
department to donate some
We
time.
got
It's
that
hard,
right.
I mean, and just.
Why don't you
volunteers-
ask us?
Well, to get volunteers to coach the kids, like,
Wait a second now.
you know, like, parents that have to be there anyway, and they don't wanna, and they don't, not a lot of people want
I did-
volunteers.
I would enjoy coaching.
You're right, no one wants to.
Nobody wants to step up
Charlie,
and,
force them out of the
and then,
cell.
yeah, and
Keep them away from
we've
the
had some
cell.
parents step up, and then they get yelled at, and what about the parents sitting on the sideline? You didn't you can step up to do it, so we appreciate the ones that do.
So when we do register this year round, we may have a nice little parent and student conference to discuss that and identify some people at the beginning, instead of waiting until we get the program all running.
And I would recommend to use this resource right here. On a night, we'll get volunteers and we'll have Charlie lead us on refereeing.
I'll be glad to.
Well, because I would be there, and I think if we could get a handful of volunteers, like in Little League, what we do down at we go through the umpiring. They'll create a list. And it sounds kind of crazy, but we got this volunteer list, and the managers, the coaches of the team, are the ones responsible for calling and booking the referee or the umpire that night. So it takes the pressure off of the staff to say, okay, we're gonna have someone here tonight for these couple games. It's the responsibility of the home team. Kind of crazy, but it's been very successful for Elkton Little League for many years.
But that's not-
Okay, not ready yet? All right. I see on page 12, special offense.
Before we go,
No,
could we budget a little bit more in for the referees? Because I know that we didn't account for the.
Oh, they're on another page.
But we for Jake, for basketball.
Yeah. I budgeted like I didn't have volunteers.
Okay. Okay.
okay, on fiscal 16, your report, well, of course, I see that the fireworks, the special events falls under you, 4th of July, and the portable toilets, once again. Very good, and that's pretty consistent. I think that number's should be fairly consistent. That's jumped up a couple different times. So they must allocate the toilets into a different,
What page you on?
page 12.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, they charge.
Oh,
We give for a month what we get for the one day. We pay $60 a month, and then for the special event, we pay $60 for
Oh,
one
they
day.
hit you up more for that day.
Same price just for one day.
Page 13,
Yeah, I just found out about that.
we're looking at ramp maintenance expense on the skateboard stuff. That's just, you don't really know what it's gonna be.
Yeah, we usually wait till the spring to check it out once the snow goes away.
How long do you have that?
I think the first ramps went in like 99 or 2000.
In the last 3 years, you've spent $15. I'm serious, that's what it says, that you spent $15.
Probably
We
so.
had one year we'd ordered a lot of, we had like extra skate like down there that we were able to put back on. I didn't have to buy it for a couple of years, we ordered something.
I know, right?
Page 14, capital overlay, I'm looking here, folding chairs, is that for upstairs?
Yes.
You pay for all
I
that?
don't know that fold.
We would like to get folding chairs rather than
With the cushions on it.
these big,
Yeah.
heavy.
These things here is a killer moving up
There
there.
is a killer.
And then we have to, every time we have something big, we have to take these all upstairs. We just want to get folding chairs that we can put on a rack, leave them up there.
Okay, now screen for activity room, help
Okay,
me on that.
well, there's a screen and it's not quite working properly. It's usable, but not working right. It kind of got wrapped, like something's wrong with the motor. And it got wrapped up inside the thing. We had to take it apart to get it back out. And it was like $700 and some to,
Wow.
to fix it. We didn't fix it.
Do we even need a motorized unit up there? Could it be just a pull-down screen of some sort? Or not?
The ceiling is pretty
It's pretty
high
high.
there, and
And this is,
I think pulling it down would probably, no matter if somebody else is doing it or they're renting it, would probably break it quicker. Just my thought.
Okay.
and then the other thing was the projector has been giving us some trouble. Sid did something and it's currently working again, but I don't know how long it's going to work. So not something that we may not need it, but I don't know.
Does the police use the projector and the screen up there for training or
They're
anything?
using it tomorrow.
Occasionally, but we have our own in our training room.
We have a smart board.
Oh, okay.
So again, I put that in before we actually fixed the projector. Well, so I don't know how long it's going to work. It was to the point where we couldn't play a game and watch a movie at the same, like, it just wasn't like.
Are you using the projector for like the Wii games and all that too? I understand.
Have you ever had any association with the smart board? Because I know the smart boards, they do a lot of things. They can be a screen. You can use them to work with kids, just a number of
I've
things.
never
The
actually
smart
seen
board,
one.
they've gotten better.
I've never seen them.
Can you go over and visit the police department and check out their smart
They don't
board?
want me over, yes,
Yeah, he can come over.
They don't let 'em.
But the only thing I would advise on that, you wanna, yeah, you wanna be a police officer?
Yeah, there you go.
The only thing on the smart board, I believe, most of them are stationary boards, ours is affixed to a wall, where the advantage he has to the pull-down screen is it's a pull-down
challenge
screen, and
Right.
So your smart board has multiple use, from screens to whatever, to whatever, to whatever.
correct.
Right.
Oven for the second floor.
It's-
Is there an oven up there now?
Yes, there is, and it's not quite working very well.
Okay, well, that was put in 14 years ago.
Yep,
A long time ago.
They used to.
it just isn't working.
Is it electric? Yeah, I
Yes,
guess it
it's
I
electric.
guess you could like.
Okay.
You do have a nice little cooking space up there.
Page 15, we got, and this is budgeted based on having a bus trip, multiple bus trips,
That's for
T-shirts.
summer camp, yep.
And those varies, of course, if you get more participation, of course, the request goes up.
Well, yeah, we're kind of limited in the number of kids we can take right now, so.
All right, on page 16, I really didn't need the salaries in here yet, but this is fine. You can kind of see what your salaries are. Are you requesting any new?
Nothing, well,
Is there anything new here you're requesting?
And you
There-
figure not to, the full-time.
not nothing full time. There's some part-time things that we haven't quite figured out exactly how we want to handle them, but.
Just a revenue offset on your payments,
On page 17.
What I bring in versus what I spend,
I did not,
or dance.
oh, I mixed stuff together. Never mind.
Yeah, the dance, is very-
55.
yeah, 55,000 in revenue, that's very nice. I think we have year-long dance. We invite, what's the name of the dance mom in town? We'll bring her in town. Dance moms, you never seen the reality show Dance Moms?
You
No.
don't want them in here.
Very good, any other questions for Mary?
Yes. I was looking at the revenue green bar, and I saw that there was a whole bunch of different account numbers for Cape May, Treasure Hunt, Tiny Tumblers, all of the things that I'm assuming that Elkton used to do, right?
Yeah, I don't,
They're just not using one. Now with that system, whose name I can never remember,
Acronym?
everything goes in there. One revenue account, basically.
Really, my point is how do we help Park and Rec expand into getting at least closer to break even? I see a lot of things that we used to do. How do we maybe institute 5 of them, something like that to,
we're limited, well, I mean, not, obviously we tried a bus trip or something, but last time we tried a bus trip, we didn't get very much interest, and that was like New York City. But, we're limited in our space, like, in what we can even
or
offer.
what about Meadow Park or something,
Well, that's, I
thinking
mean,
outside the box?
I think in the last 2 years, we've had to, one year we had to move T-ball, one year we had to move soccer out of Meadow Park because we couldn't even use the park, it was slow.
Not, if not too hot.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, that was, I think last year, we did T-ball, we had to do T-ball up at, the church on Delaware Avenue, but we got soccer, and the year before, we had to move soccer up to the church because we couldn't use the park.
Didn't they have a, like a fireman's race, stuff like that at one time?
Farmers Challenge.
That was,
Yeah.
that was all best.
Lions Day.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna mention that, what I, and I know that you travel too with softball, and I think you've done AAU basketball and so forth, and tournaments bring in money. And if there's a tournament that we can do with our resources today, and I'm trying to lend a hand here by saying, Meadow Park right now, or what can we use out there, what can we do? And some of the things that go across my mind is maybe have a Parks and Rec run, where the proceeds go to Parks and Rec. Maybe we could have a horseshoe tournament cornhole tournament, which are very, very popular, and it brings, yeah, it brings in a lot of people in for these events. It's not gonna be hundreds, it's not gonna be thousands and thousands of dollars, but it could build into something, and I think that we're committed to our golf tournament that we wanna host. The proceeds will go to Parks and Rec, so, and the basketball tournament. So everything, we're gonna try to help bring those numbers up for you. But anything, is there anything that you need from us that would help improve the quality of life for our residents in our town? You can say whatever you want.
Mary,
I mean, it's
it's
just-
all yours.
It's just, we don't have the facilities, we just don't have a facility. And then we're doing summer camp here, and we're walking the kids down the park because we don't have an outside tape.
Gosh.
If we had a facility, like outdoor facility right up against this building, we could take the kids, but we just can't. And then we lose kids because they don't want to walk.
Have you ever put a business plan together that if you got X amount of kids more, it would bring in X amount of revenue to offset the expenditures?
I have not ever done
Would you?
it. I can.
I mean, because that would really help it, not only sell to the board, but sell to the residents of why we should spend a lot of their money. I'd like to see some other things for golf. And maybe not necessarily this year, but start planning for next year. I know there's a color vibe, which I wish Parks and Rec was doing. I'm right now trying to start or train for a Spartan race. They're huge. There's another one, a Spartan race.
And we got the park, we could do right that through the creek and
There's,
Oh, mud run?
well, not a mud, but just a Spartan race also. I mean, it's the same type of thing, but more challenging, brings in a lot of sponsors, brings in a lot of, and maybe we don't get a Spartan race, but what I'm saying is that there's plenty of things out there that I think would be, if we get adults involved in our community also, to come downtown, then all of a sudden they know what's going on.
Until you bring up a major point, because the project that we thought we was gonna have, was one in which the adults and the seniors, and it was gonna be a multi-purpose
Community center.
community center for different levels of people. So your point's well taken.
I remember sitting and listening to you guys about that. The problem is, as I see it, that we shouldn't just stop not thinking of what we could do for the adult community around here, unless there's something going on I'm unaware of.
Well,
You know what I'm saying? It's just, and I'll do everything possible. We could talk to
there
the
is
board.
a lot going on for the seniors in Cecil County through the county, what they have as far as the senior transit facility there. But I think with our community center, what we were looking at was a walking track and classes and things like that to add on into this building for, Elkton residents, and I guess we didn't get that far as to others. So, but I do want to say the Fireman's Challenge, when we brought them here, was a $23,000 cost.
What was the revenue?
The revenue, we would be lucky if we made $5,000, and that was on the very, very best year of sponsorship.
What was the exposure to the town?
The exposure, well, we had it was great for tourism, because people flew here, they used the airport, rented a car, they stayed in the hotels, and to watch their teams, because we had teams from Kansas, Miami, all over the country. So for tourism and economic development, it was excellent. The Fireman Challenge, though, where it got to, you're paying the $23,000, 2 o'clock on Saturday, they're packed up and gone. So it ended up, when we stopped the challenge for the town-wise, the Fall Fest in itself is a huge success where we do make money. And it was, we get vendors from Virginia and all over, but it's for the people and for the merchants, so that's why we had stopped that.
Well, let me ask the pointed questions. A couple questions, if I could. Charlie, I need your expertise here. Can the YMCA, in your opinion, handle, do you think that they have enough, I don't want to use space, enough time allotted that they would be able to allot to the town of Elkton 3 days a week, prime time hours, 5 o'clock to 10 o'clock every day in those big gymnasiums. Does
That would be difficult.
They're already at capacity right
Yeah,
now.
that'd be difficult.
Wait a second, 11,000 square foot.
They use a basketball gym right now.
Yeah, using their gymnasium, that's what I'm asking.
They're using a basketball court that they had for the bounce, the moon bounce section to generate revenue right now to offset some of their costs. And they don't have the space, they don't have the extra time because they're right now, and if you look at there, they're crowded. And that's a good thing.
And the reason why I said, I've been there too, and I knew that you are in tune over there. Because that's one of the questions that I get quite a bit, was whether we wanted to move forward. If we do move forward with our own facility, why don't we share with the Y in some manner? And that's what it always comes down to. They don't have enough, the prime time hours are the hours that everyone needs, per se, to really produce the revenue that needs to be generated. If we needed that facility from 8 o'clock in the morning till 4 every day, yeah, that place is probably open except during the
Exactly.
summertime.
You're running into your taxpayer dollars versus an entity of their own dollar. They have to pay their staff, they have to do all that. We checked into all that, so I'm just letting you know that's the difference with where's the income going forward.
And I think George was trying to work something, if at all possible, but it wouldn't work.
I had,
Thank you. Right.
you know, of course, my 3 children, and we all have children here, that I used to travel with my kids playing volleyball, indoor soccer,
Yeah.
around not only the state of Maryland, but around Pennsylvania, Delaware, Virginia. We'd end up at Penn State on campus for Memorial Day weekend every year. These are huge draws for club teams, travel teams
Right.
to participate. And what I've always seen is that if you have a facility that could host and you know, I don't want to stress on basketball or volleyball or
Right.
field hockey, but the fact is, people are paying $400 and $500 for that weekend to guarantee X amount of games to participate, to win these trophies, right? And if you can get 24 teams in at, let's even say $300, now we're looking at $7,500 for the weekend. I mean, that's huge revenue.
I can
You-
tell you,
and
I
I know-
can tell you now, with College Showcase, the minimum we pay is $800.
$800 is what you,
Minimum. Maximum we pay is $1,250
and
for a weekend.
that's
Guaranteed 4 games, 3 Saturday, single elimination on Sunday.
that's amazing.
And I'm telling you,
And they're full.
we are packed. There are some tournaments we go to in Harrisburg that have over 120 teams that show up.
So I think what Commissioner was asking earlier about drawing up a plan for us, that would help us. If you could speculate on revenue coming in, because I can tell you, you've got one vote here ready to move forward on creating a center if we could find the right location. And I know that's always been the other
Does
challenge.
it have to be downtown? Can it be somewhere close, say off of, say over by the high school or over by 213 and 40, or not down by sewage plant, but somewhere that's just kind of close in here? Would that work?
I hope that we can find something in town limits.
Yeah, Mary had drawn up different plans with people that were interested. And I still have those plans, I'm sure you have those plans. There was one from
Different locations.
the different locations, yeah. The cost of the building, you know. One was 801 Elkton Boulevard here. But the one, mine.
Who owns that property? Wait a minute,
That
easy now.
property, wait a minute. But then the RMR building. That RMR building where it's located on Bridge Street, there's women that own fields behind it, I think it's 7 acres.
Yeah, it is 7.
That is the
That's brownfield.
ideal, but it's just for field, not to build on.
No, you would have to, it is a brownfield, is it not?
The R&R building is clear,
I thought you could only add
Isn't
X
it
amount of
clear now,
concrete to
or-
build on that.
but you
For
can't,
commercial or
commercial, you
Commercial
can't
or
live there,
industrial.
residential, right.
Well, I have a couple ideas, and I really don't want to disclose one of the locations that we've been kind of looking on in general, but a location that if we could work with the Cecil County School Board on, is I believe there's enough land right next to Cecil County Board of Education right across the street here, right off Stockton, that big field,
Schaefer was.
the big field.
There was the other one.
We could put a 20,000 square foot building there, walking distance for everybody, plenty of parking, use the municipal parking lot. It wasn't saying much, I can't get even late on any of that.
I think
Well, look,
school has some plans for that property.
Oh, what plans would they have right over yonder?
I don't know.
I don't think they have any plans for that open field. They told me when I spoke to them, when I first came on,
Wait a minute,
when I sat with them and talked about, I was trying to work to where we could acquire that property in general, but that field was open. Well, they told me they weren't gonna move out of downtown.
Not the building there.
The only change that's gonna occur over there is the
That
maintenance
right
office. The people over there are gonna move out. That's the only change that's coming up with them. Then they're going up to the new Tech Center.
Who was going to do that tech center?
The maintenance people and the people over at 801 Elkton Boulevard.
Oh, they're going, yeah, you don't want to.
Well, very good. Well, we're gonna keep on looking into it. I don't wanna hold you up anymore. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you, Mary.
Yeah, facilities, what you do.
All righty.
Make a call to Mark.
Chief, you're on. All right, very good. Gonna take a couple
Take a
second
break.
second break here.
All right. Just tell them they have to be the one.
No, I don't get No, I would agree with that. Perfect. Thanks, John.
Hey, John, good to see you.
Thanks for the letter.
Yep.
I'll get that letter. Yeah, wait for Bill.
Let me have the building.
Available right now, but I can have one for you. Craig, you want to give her the one you can?
Yeah, and then if I can, just give her all that I have. Are these like for public distribution? Steve, are these for public distribution? For the way?
I need your guys are up. Don't have copies for public distribution.
No, no, I'm asking, can she make these copies?
Yes.
Like 200 West Main.
Suicide point, yes.
Kind of hard to follow.
Yeah, but the trouble with that.
You can have mine.
Captain, what I listen?
Probably that's mine.
You didn't even
Not a problem.
said
No, I
I.
know, it's just that there's
Anchovy.
Ponding up the street.
I know.
And I know that. And it's raised the level up that high. Now, let me take a look at it. It's gonna freeze up. No, it's last year. Last year, they're my swimming.
Trade hawks. Trade hawks.
They're doing it. It's still being treated.
Yeah.
And this way to Walmart starts, or Amazon starts delivering.
40 stuff.
Deliver,
Rubber band.
Thank you for bringing rubber band.
That went to Walmart and Amazon started delivering.
I think that is the last one.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, they knocked, they.
Knocked them right out of the sky. But no, they're.
Because of the altitude, they
Yeah,
can't.
man, they live in the city.
We're getting closer and closer, we're getting closer and closer to the Jetsons.
Yeah, man.
Trying to decide where to stop and pick up dinner and do something.
It's gonna get big as a-
Vendors.
No, I want something I don't have to cook. I heard that Royal Farms has the
Royal
best
Farms is
chicken
awesome
in the
chicken,
area.
yes.
Who would think? Who would know?
They do, they're awesome.
Really?
Yes.
Who is both Royal Farms
All right.
in this area? So hard to get.
But I want to show you
I've there many times, they're very good. Thumbs up.
I didn't say it up on that, exactly what I'm doing.
Oh, yeah.
The actual-
Yeah, because it's strong, they can run it down.
Where we go from
Doing
there?
another 6 feet.
All right, Michelle, we ready?
Yes.
All right, you got us on video still, or did you turn us off?
You're on video.
Okay, very good. All right, we are back after a few minute break.
Page 9
Oh,
on
where'd
the.
Charlie go?
He's trying to find a bathroom with a fan.
It just came out.
What is? Oh, my.
I knew you had a sense of humor.
Like once an hour. I guess.
I think it's been more than that lately, and I kind of like it.
Page 9.
They're page 9, they came by the
Okay.
file, department number 210.
At one time. Okay, Chief, you are on board.
All right, well, just real quick, if you don't mind, I'll just give you a real brief snapshot of some things that, how 2014 went down.
Okay, great.
2014 was a busy year for the men and women of the Elkton Police Department. The department was involved in 28,641 incidents that required the presence of a police officer. Officers made 1,583 criminal arrests and moved 4,176 traffic violations. There were several high-profile cases during the year that were closed by arrest, and some of those high-profile cases are still open investigations and currently being investigated. As a department, we continue to provide day-to-day police services to the residents and businesses of Elkton, to include increased foot and bicycle patrols. But we do quite a bit more to provide traditional police services. In 2014, we established relationships that were kind of unprecedented with the homeless community, representatives of the homeless community, the Greater Elkton Ministry Alliance, and with those seeking help persons with substance abuse issues. We also maintained our regular working relationships with allied law enforcement agencies such as Cecil County Sheriff's Department, Maryland State Police, and our partners in Delaware and Pennsylvania, as well as federal partners of the FBI, the Drug Enforcement Administration, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. We also continued our partnerships with Cecil County Health Department, Domestic Violence Services, Child Protective Services, and Cecil County Public School System. The department also hosted a Junior Police Academy National Night Out, which was in conjunction with the Cecil County Boys and Girls Club, and participated in the annual Shop with a Cop program. We're also committed to continuing our DARE and School Resource Officer program in Elkton area schools, as well as participating in Safetyville and Neighborhood Youth Panel. So just a real quick snapshot there of 2014 and a little bit of moving forward. Our present staffing in the department, we have a total number of 45 full-time officers. Obviously, we don't have all those slots filled. We presently have 38 officers. Our shortage is 7.
How many more do you have for comments?
We have 3 in the academy right now. 2 are slated to graduate in April, and the 3rd will graduate in June.
And the polygraph is before the academy, right?
Yes, yeah. And we actually have 3 that are scheduled to take polygraph next month. And we'll be given, not sure.
Potentially March.
late March, and I think there may be another one in May, so.
And real quickly, when I spoke to the chief earlier today, as we know, we've been understaffed based on budgeted amount, and we all know that that's a large portion of revenue not being spent. And looking into next year's budget, it's a very good chance that all those positions won't get filled until sometime middle of the budget year, or even may never get all 7. I mean, depending on our luck, good, bad, or indifferent. But I want everyone to keep that in mind too. We're going to be budgeting a number once again that's going to be for the full staff. But we have to know that they're not going to be fully budgeted positions. We're going to try our best
Absolutely.
to fill. And if we're fortunate enough to find officers that would be already gone through the approval process and they pass our standards and then we can hire them, we can be up and running 100% pretty quickly. Is that correct in what I said?
Yes.
Everyone follow that? I didn't realize how long it took to fill these positions.
Yeah, it
This is
it
not-
does. It's no easy task. The background is the lion's share of the time. And then you get a little bit more time in trying to schedule psychological and medical exams and that kind of thing. They also take time. But we are testing again March 7th. And we're testing just about every other month right now.
We have a retirement April 1 too, so we'll lose another officer.
Jim Crew.
Oh, is that right?
Yes. Our overtime during 2014, our overtime hours used were reduced 32% compared to hours in 2013. We continue to use grants as much as we possibly can. We never turn one down. Grants reimburse us for tens of thousands of dollars in salary and overtime, and also provide training. Just want to give you a snapshot there of 2014, and bring you up to date on our
Very
manpower
good.
situation.
Well, as we go through this, please let us know if there's anything that's totally different than what it was in previous years.
Okay, and I have Captain Grill and Lieutenant Waldridge up here with me for a purpose, and you'll see that under capital, we talked about body cameras. Joe will give a synopsis on body cameras, and also under capital, we have vehicles. Larry's been our fleet manager for 20 years. He'll talk to us about the need for cars, and also will elaborate somewhat on replacement program.
Very good.
Excuse me, I have to be in Delaware.
Okay.
All right, Earl, we'll see you. Thank you. Hey, Charlie, get us a little more elbow room now. We'll kick Earl right out of here. All righty, let's, I see the first page of correspondence. Let's go right to, or did you have something you want to hit on?
Just the budget increase was 15.5, as indicated on here, which is considerable. It's actually very small, considering the amount of money police department costs.
Right.
How much did you get compared to what you had last year? Do you know?
Yeah, I don't. I think last year, what we asked, we got pretty close to what we needed. And hey, listen, we make it work. Obviously, the budget we're proposing here is what we want, but there's been times where we've had different lines reduced and cut. We make it work.
Okay, very good. Let's go to the patrol, first page here, professional services, $7,000. You're saying it's the same as what you requested in 15? Did I read that correctly?
15.6. No, we
13, no, 15, I have here, you
Well-
requested 6.
Well, that was approved. I don't have the work papers of what was required.
Yeah, 6 was approved.
Yeah, that needs to be.
Gotcha.
approved.
Okay, this is what you requested, and that's what was approved. I got it.
Do you know what was in 2013, you had 23 grand, do you know what exactly that was?
We had 23 grand.
It was actually spent, we would have to look at that, I don't know. That,
Okay.
that was an actual expenditure from FY 15. We can find that out, I
Right.
don't have access to that right
That might have been, that was the year we had some trial boards, so that might have affected that.
Function, is that function bolts?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, that's-
yeah, Funk and Bolton.
They use a specialist, an attorney who specializes in law enforcement officers' bill of rights to trial boards and things. Can't use this any kind of specialist.
Very good. Object 15, travel meals, $2,000 you're requesting. I know that you haven't been close to that neither, but that's if you're doing some travel.
Yes.
Dues and subscriptions, $2,000. Once again, I know that's just association fees and so forth that keep you up to date.
Yes.
All right, let's go into the item 27, the repairs and maintenance. You've been, of course, it's been tracking about 50,000.
Yeah.
You got $43,000 budgeted for the current year, and you're asking for 50,000. And once again, I'm sure that maintenance is maintenance.
Yeah, and some of that's, because I think we talked about the age of the fleet for some of our vehicles, well over 100,000 miles. We're anticipating a little bit more needed repairs.
All right, contracted services on line item object 30, contracted services. What exactly is with your Xerox live scan contact and would the body armor go onto this contract if it was approved? Is this a contract
No,
for the camera service?
No, for live, well, did you ask what live scan is?
No, I'm asking, is live scan if
It's
the camera?
fingerprinted.
No, I think if I understand what the question is, Mayor, is that if body cams were approved,
Yes.
there would be an additional potential increase of up to $29,000 in that line item for the SMA,
Yes.
for the management of that program.
Yes,
You have it all requested on the capital level.
Yes.
Yes, and that's
Yeah.
already.
but the following year it would probably fall under that.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Is that, am I correct in that?
Yes, you're 100% right, Larry.
30,000.
100% right. Okay, you got more contracted services on 31, IT and so forth. It's all fairly consistent, well, it varies. Is this more Mike here?
Yes.
How much was Mike utilized? Do we have a breakdown of that, of Mike?
No,
Per
these
department?
other contracted services, we charge the fee separately because we want to capture all the costs of providing police services that ties into the set the SAP grant, state aid for police protection, and anything else to be added aside is charged to administration for Mike Devine's time. So, we don't do public works stuff.
We use
There's
one
not
for
a
the-
lot of
No.
work at
So
all.
basically, we want to capture the
You
police,
comfortable with
what's
that?
unique to the police.
Yes. Yeah, he's
Everyone else is
reliable.
captured.
And, we have the computers in the cars as well as in the office, so he's oftentimes got his hands full.
Very good. Supplies, once again, that varies, $13,000.
So what kind of paper is used for in-car machines, and what kind of machine are we talking about?
For the e-tickets?
Oh, it's for the e-ticket?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, it is a specialized paper. I don't know exactly what it is, but.
Comes on a roll,
Okay.
similar
Yeah.
to
The old, like the old fax.
Okay.
Yes,
paper.
exactly, yeah. Mhm.
The, I see there's a pretty good increase there. Is there something else that you added to the operating supplies?
Let's see. I'm thinking we're requesting the same in that line, Commissioner.
33.
Maybe we had less approved.
30,
Yeah.
34.
I think it's just mentioned, I don't even see 30. I don't even see a 33 in my book, but I got a 34.
It's 34.
Yeah, 34.
10, 6, and 9, 5 for the last 2 years of the 13. I just didn't know if it was.
Yeah, we had
if you
those
added
cut.
something.
They were cut previously. In fact, I think it used to be up as high as 15, and we requested again, less than that, we requested 13.
I guess what my question is this supposed to be number 33, or is it, because I'm looking on my green
Yeah,
bar.
they should be 34 degree bar, not 33.
Yeah, that's what I think it is. I think it was a thing.
The wrong line.
Oh.
It's just one line down.
Yeah, because on
34, you did. 34.
mine's on 33.
It's on 33 degree bar, 34 is the budget request.
I got it.
Yeah, 33.
All right, minor equipment on 35, it varies, so you're looking at taser cartridges and monitors and printers.
How many do you guys use over the years?
Taser replacement cartridges?
Yeah. On average?
Well, what is there, one for, we have to buy training cartridges also, and we have to recertify once a year. So we have to buy those, so that's however many we have carrying, what, 30 people carrying tasers? And then we deploy the taser.
Probably about a dozen times a year,
Yeah.
but there are differences in cartridges between summer and winter cartridges. There's just a difference in the
Oh, because you have to go
cartridges.
through the material.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I just, a side note on the taser, that it acts as a deterrent. Officer will pull that out when they think they have to use it, and they dry stun it, and it clicks.
Taser's good for how
That's
long?
usually clear
Forever, like
back
that,
that
right?
energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the cartridges you keep replacing.
I know.
The gun is good unless you get, they come up with new technology.
Okay.
Training and education, I see that's going up also, but that's, we're behind the 8 ball on bodies, right?
Yes.
Let's see, of course, uniforms are all over the place, but a lot of it is because you probably haven't had to buy for those extra.
Right.
All right, special items, supplies, 30,000, about the same as what was budgeted last year. And actual, you think you're gonna use everything that you had for last year? For this current budget, you're currently at 42,000, and you were budgeted 27,000. You think you'll refill the bin, or what you're thinking?
Won't be close.
Yeah.
Okay. The next item, 63, the crime prevention, I'd actually like to see that up. I'd like to see more areas that we can do to prevent crime through knowledge. Your police academy is absolutely wonderful. I was here the other day, there was an elderly gentleman that was signing up for the week class himself. So I think that any way that we can continue to educate, I think is gonna help. So if
Right.
there's more resources that you need here, certainly let us know.
Okay. Yeah.
It can be used the right way.
Right, sure, absolutely.
Because I think it's very important.
Where do we stand on the neighborhood watch manual?
Neighborhood watch manual?
Yeah.
We have Josh with you, tell me.
No. Is it supposed to be done?
I'm not sure I'll follow up on that, after that meeting.
Thank you.
The K-9 is the K-9. The dog has fixed costs and vet bills. Right. Item 220.
They had taken that out of deep fund.
Yep.
On the dog, I know, I think Roger's son got a second dog,
Yes.
and they don't have the population size, anything that we have. Are we good with one dog?
No, we actually, we're actually been talking about that, and a second dog is something that we definitely want to consider.
Yeah, because I know they're a huge help, and when I saw that they had gotten a second one this past
Right.
year, and I thought, they don't have the population, the area that we have, and they did get that second dog, and I don't know if it's something, you know.
We still loan ours out, right?
Yes.
Yeah, in fact,
Last night,
Big seizure
last
last
night
night.
they seized a half a pound of raw cocaine. They assisted MSP's gang unit, sniffed the package, and it was coming from Puerto Rico.
Nice.
It's coming here to Elkton.
Oh, I know.
But to answer your question, that is something that we have planned and is in the projection.
Yeah.
So we all going in this room?
No.
Alrighty, police support services, the Verizon Air cards, is that what you have in the vehicles themselves? It
Yes.
gives you access?
Yes.
You're talking about another canine unit. You're not talking about just a dog, you're talking about an officer
Oh, yeah, would have to,
trained and dedicated to that position.
yes.
So they're not like, would you take one out of patrol?
Well, presently, we couldn't do that.
Okay, that's what I'm saying, because it would involve more than a dog.
Oh, right, I know, the
Yeah.
officer
Long
that
training
takes them
process.
home, and training and.
And that wouldn't be one of the new hires that you bring on, couldn't do that, it'd have to be an experienced person, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, and that's one of the reasons that we didn't include it in the budget, because we're having such a hard time, doing the recruiting, getting people on staff. It would be something that we'd look at moving into next year's budget. And there's avenues we can take where the town may not have to bear all the costs. There's organizations that will donate equipment and cover the cost of the dog.
What do they sniff out today? Can I ask that question?
Yeah.
Is it the one that we have on staff? Does it sniff cocaine,
What does it sniff
marijuana,
out?
bombs,
No
No,
problem.
no bombs.
It's a drug-
crystal meth?
Yeah, it's a drug and control dog.
Drug
Yeah.
control dog.
The bomb smelling dogs,
And tracks,
there,
also
it
tracks.
could be
Oh,
little dogs, believe it or not. They use all varieties of dogs. I think the patrol dogs are more, are a variation of shepherds.
Shepherds, yeah.
Malinois, Shepherd.
Yeah.
And looking at another canine, I would give heavy consideration to a lap dog. I mean, it'd be great if you almost had one on every shift.
I agree,
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah.
Say that dog or that?
Labrador.
Labrador Retriever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're real, that's different.
Chihuahua.
I have a
They are the
lap dog.
license players.
They can be pretty
But,
vicious.
I mean, looking down the road, a canine available for each patrol squad would be phenomenal. I mean, that would really be the right way to do
So
it.
I think should be part of our budgeting process, because once again, I'm gonna ask you the same question at the end. What do you need to
Right.
improve our services? And I think that's gonna be one of the items.
Absolutely, yeah.
And, I think that our goal here is to make things better.
Yeah, the crime prevention, that's gonna actually,
All right, very good. Postage is postage. Contracted services, line item 31. I just didn't really know exactly what that was. I see what it is, the Cecil County Emergency Dispatch Agreement. Help me so it costs the town of Elkton
We just got the bill.
$160,000
Yeah.
per year.
mhm.
Are you okay?
Well,
Just for the record, I decided to stay to the meeting instead of going to this.
All right.
Car won't start. Car won't start.
Sorry. No, I was,
I requested 5,000 additional, and I may be slightly over, because I looked at our projected cost for next year, and I think we're at about 158.
That's a bill, we're
Yeah.
$50 within the budget.
Right.
From the current
Yeah,
budget, that's
yeah, 150.
amazing how
Yeah, it was
close we are.
150,000.
Pardon?
We know what we're doing.
That's less than $100.
What, help me understand what we're getting for our $160,000.
911 services.
Okay, we get the 911 service and, add to that for me. I mean, so they're not.
From the second you dial 911 to somebody dispatching the police car out to the location of the call.
So in years past.
Traffic stops,
In years
back-
past, going back to my first time, we had around-the-clock dispatchers in
Mhm.
place,
That's correct.
and those dispatchers equals that 160, correct? Is that basically, or am I missing something? Are they giving us more?
Well, I mean, they now have all the infrastructure and they have the liability of it all too. It's basically, when we did it before, we had a 911 line ringing into the police station, as well as the 398-4200 line. You had one person working that. They weren't really trained 911 operators.
Okay.
None of them would have, I don't believe any of them were trained to do CPR or a telephone or anything like that. We were the 911 for the community.
Gotcha.
So you are getting a different type of service. It's enhanced from what we had. And hey, the people that did the job here in the past did a phenomenal job because you had one person really doing the work of two people.
Mhm.
And, you just imagine you're answering 911, the regular 4200 line, person's coming up to the window for service, and then you have a crew full of cops out in the field that are answering your calls for service, making car stops, running information, driver's license, registration, and
And they're doing it all for us. And how many people are at that call center every day? How many do they have on hand each day? Do you know?
I'm thinking that there's
There's
anywhere
probably 2 or
from,
3 call takers on
Yeah.
each shift, and then for dispatchers, there's probably 3 to 4, depending on
Okay.
the workload.
So you're basically getting 5 people, or 1, what we had before.
So they handle fire rescue.
Yeah, well, one of them is actually dedicated just to us.
Our workload is
Too
so
busy.
taxing for them, that they designated specifically one dispatcher.
Very good. Well, you answered that. What's water cooler mean?
you know what, I don't know how the water cooler got in there, but we have a water cooler.
Can I scroll it, scratch the water cooler?
Yes.
out? All right, the next item, supplies on 33, I'm okay with that. Let's get to the capital. I had mentioned, we had mentioned, or I talked to you in general, about, I think we'd all like to see here a plan moving forward to where we can take cars out of service, and this is for all departments, whether it's the police department, or public works, or so forth, to work it to where we have a plan, and it could be a 4-year cycle, or a 5-year cycle, or 6-year, whatever fits best for the department. But I think that we should rotate and flip them cars before it gets too late. I mean, I don't know what year those Tauruses are out there. What year are those?
2001.
We got a 2001 Taurus, and now maybe a very good vehicle, but I think that we're in a position that we don't want to have the repairs and the breakdowns. Now, I would defer this to the person that's probably got the best information when it comes to fleet services, and that's what you do. I mean, I understand that, but we'd be looking for you for your expertise when it comes to this matter. But I hope that you agree that that's the type of cycle that we need to.
Yeah, I mean, we've, Larry, and if you want, Larry can kind of give a brief.
Yeah, I'd love to, thank you.
We've presented this a number of different times.
That's just a brief overview of what I want to go over, and I know that Mary, you would ask for some visual aids, so there's a fleet roster there
Yep.
of vehicles and assignments and things of that nature. There is some information provided on that vehicle assignment that may look foreign to you, and basically what that is, I use this list for multi-things and for radar calibration and things of that nature, so you'll see some numbers underneath the vehicles that really aren't germane to what we're going to talk about.
So currently, okay, I'm looking at the years.
If you'd like, I can just trudge along.
Yeah, keep going, yeah.
All right, basically, as we know, patrol units are marked out with a visible sign of law enforcement, and on top of that, the government which they represent. When the car arrives on scene, before the officer ever gets out, the entity is judged. They have become, over the years, mobile crisis response units, mobile offices for the officers now. We have MDTs, we have ETECs, we have contact in there for running NCIC and things of that nature. So the majority of the officers' time of a 12-hour shift is spent in the car on the road. Currently, Elkton Police Department has a fleet of 37 vehicles. 4 of those units are covert support vehicles, which are either leased or have been awarded to the agency via asset seizure. The remaining units are utilized in the areas of administration, patrol, criminal investigations division, school resource officers, and street crimes units. 29 of the current vehicles that we have now are assigned as take-home units. Unfortunately, I don't have the resources to issue everyone a take-home car at this point in time.
They have to live in county.
Living county, yes. That is something that we would like to pursue. Definitely the benefits of the take-home car are, they are a valuable recruitment tool. They enhance the accountability. They increase our police presence not only within the town of Elkton, but within the county itself. They facilitate lower maintenance costs and, again, the installation of pride and ownership for the officer. If you take a look at the list there, you'll see that the current fleet's broken down from 1998 all the way to 2015, taking the liberty to indicate which numbers we have after each year. Based off of this breakdown, you can see the disparity and the inconsistencies that are involved in vehicle purchase and retention. Mayor, as you alluded to, the Tauruses that you have there, 5 of those are 2001, which puts them out past 8 years. With that being said, 23 of the 37 vehicles that we have are older than 7 years. And this becomes problematic when a vehicle reaches a point where repairs exceed their maintenance cost annually and residual value, either through accidents or major repairs. In the past, we have often manipulated these repairs just to maintain fleet integrity so we don't lose a vehicle. Quite typically, when we lose a vehicle through service, either through an accident or just through maintenance, it's not replaced, so we're short that way. 18 of the vehicles that are currently in use out of those 23 are at or exceed 100,000 miles, which is not only important as far as the mileage, but the hours that these vehicles have been sitting running, whether it's on a crime scene, accident, or whatever. And we do not capture that. 6 of the listed vehicles have extensive body rust, which has previously been repaired, and to facilitate the additional repairs in such a fiscal year as this, the cost for those repairs will exceed the cost of the car based on Kelly Blue Book standards. And that would be the Tauruses and the older SUVs that we have. We also know that when it comes to newer vehicles, we have a better image of the agency in the town. It instills pride and ownership for the officers. It decreases an overall maintenance cost, and it provides the utmost valuable recruitment tool because all the other agencies within the county offer a take-home car to new officers and those who live within the county. Through a structured program, we know that it provides greater fiscal responsibility, easier budget management and projection, an increase in resale for the older vehicles if you have a certain time limit in which you transfer those vehicles out, and it also makes for easier fleet management as far as the projection.
Stop you real quick. Can you school me when, I try to do some homework on a leasing program for government, and I couldn't find some accurate information. I did see plans anywhere from 3 to 10 years on the vehicles. But I saw them as not necessarily a closed-ended lease, but more of an open-ended balloon. So we're actually responsible at the end of that lease to dispose of it, to try to get our money back, whatever the case. If the balloon is $20,000, but we only get 15 at the auction, we're taking the $5,000 hit.
Right. That's exactly correct. And I can discuss that and go into that in the last caveat I have as far as the fiscal impact and projecting fiscal impact. The proposal that I have before you here is for a cycle to go from 2015 out to 2023, which such a commitment in a cycle like that would ensure that by the 8th year, the entire fleet would be rotated over, nothing in the fleet would be older than 7 years, and then taking off that year of 2022, we would begin in 2023. And so that would allow us to maintain fleet integrity. And that could be changed. You could go with 5 vehicles for a period of time, you could go with more, or you could go with less. Again, variables that would impact the program are the number of personnel that you have on hand, the overall commitment by the town and what we agree with, because obviously, you know, the board could change, dynamics of the board could change, leadership within the agency could change and whatnot. Based off of a 6-vehicle purchase per year, the numbers below are pretty self-explanatory. They're inflated from year to year based off of a 5% increase to each vehicle. Quite frequently, that doesn't occur, but on a high end, that would be. If you take these numbers where you look at the first year of 2015 for a purchase of 142 for those 6 vehicles, quite typically in a lease, you would pay that for those vehicles to lease them. Then the following year in 2016, if you want to lease another 6 vehicles, there would be a percentage of that 142 or the balance that would roll over to the following year, thus increasing and ballooning your cost each and every year. With a replacement program such as this, for the initial cost that you would pay for those vehicles, you would actually, town would outright own those vehicles from year to year to year. And then the residual resale of them on the back end, with the increase in availability as far as resale, we would get that money back, or a portion of that money back that we would put out as capital outlay initially.
So your estimations, you're somewhere around, you're thinking about 160,000 on an average, really, per year.
Somewhere, some of those payments would be our 142 plus 30% on top of that from the rollover from the year before. And typically, they roll those out 3 years with an option to buy at the end of that 3rd or 4th year for a specific amount. But that amount continues to roll over. And then what compounds that is that if you buy lease vehicles more the following year and the preceding year, that 30% continues to roll over until those vehicles are paid off. And then you actually have to buy them.
Do we have numbers on the total cost of ownership on a vehicle, say 5, 6, 7 years, to include all maintenance on an average?
I do not. I tried to get some numbers from DPW as far as the maintenance on those vehicles, but the only thing I have to operate off of is our line item here. They can't give me a breakdown of per vehicle. But I know that by industry,
VIN number?
excuse me?
They don't.
Well, they
Okay.
they
It's not
do,
associated by VIN
they had
number.
an issue with, they've had an issue in changing program down there with vehicle maintenance or their new vehicles. Yeah, but I know quite typically, a fleet vehicle on average is anywhere from 50 to 52 cents per mile operate. And when you look at that, as far as a vehicle compared to a normal fleet vehicle, the price is about 33 cents a mile on a take-home vehicle that's a fleet vehicle, opposed to just a lot car that's a fleet vehicle, which is about 52 to 58% of the mileage. And that incorporates your maintenance and associated cost with it.
Well, I can tell you, this is exactly what I wanted to see. And I want the board to digest this a little bit, and I think it's makes a lot of sense to me, just from a bird's eye view. And I also think that when you look at, we've got 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, we've got 23 vehicles that are actually outside the window area. I'm assuming that's what the line meant for that.
Well, I did that as a comparison to the replacement program, taking that out 7 years. So if you look at that, then you're correct. 23 of our vehicles are past that threshold of where we would replace them, which is over half of our fleet.
And I would say that the 2000, if we could get onto that cycle, you're probably looking at in year 8, when we're looking at selling those vehicles, I think if we would get
The resale would be more.
far greater amount than we're gonna get for a 98, 99 Ford Taurus, and, well, of course, those were seized, and 5 of the 2001s. I don't think we're gonna get much for those things, but thank you for putting this together. So you're requesting 6 cars
Yes.
this year, but I don't think that gets you up to your number.
No, well.
How many cars are you short? I mean,
Well, if we filled all our positions right now, we'd be short, what, 8 cars? Yeah. But I'd also like to consider in this year, in addition to these 6 cars, we lost 2 cars this year, one a mechanical failure, another to damage from an accident. And really, the only reason that car was totaled is because of the age of the car. So I'm wondering if there's some way we could get those 2 cars replaced within this present budget.
So you're asking for 8?
Yeah, no, I'm asking for 6 next year. Yeah, I'm just,
You're asking for 2 for this current year,
yeah, for 2 for this current year.
and your thinking would
2 for
be,
16 and then 6 for 17.
Yes.
Gotcha.
I hear you loud and clear, so your thinking is.
I'm thinking that, you know, if the board were to approve it, we could get to work on ordering two cars to replace the 2 that we've lost within 2014.
Was
that
there
just haven't-
insurance money on the one they totaled?
I believe, but I don't.
How much?
Well, the insurance was gonna pay 5,000, but unfortunately, I sold it at Ricky Brothers for what, 1,500? And it didn't make too much money, but you couldn't buy it for $5,000.
Well, I know that, but
And
I
you're
just
just talking
still.
about, are you talking about Chargers?
We would be actually be looking at the Fords, the new Taurus Crown Vic model that they have now. They're all-wheel drive, and they would be more suitable for what we need. The cost that's associated with those is a couple thousand less than the SUVs, and we feel that the all-wheel drive would better suit the needs of the department and the service for the community.
And it looks like you have the older cars, the higher ranking officers are using, because you don't trust them to go out to the street and do that chasing.
No, we just want them to have,
It's just,
most of the cars in the fleet are the marked cars, and the ones that we all operate are just, you know, they're the older ones,
Yeah.
but we want it that way. We want the people out there
right,
doing the workers.
Right.
The worker bees get the
People
best.
see them.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I think we all understand where you're coming from with the cars.
Okay.
Thank you, Larry.
Why wasn't the plan put in place before? Has it been talked about before, rotating them out? You know, lots
Not a
of-
plan like this, like they just did. This is, I don't believe, unless they were talked to the previous mayor.
Yeah, that's,
This
Had a habit
is-
of flooding all this back.
that's,
Fair enough.
So,
Yeah, so this is great.
This is the first time this
This
board has
way.
seen such
Yeah,
a
okay,
money.
yeah.
Yeah, this
I
is
didn't
very
think
expensive.
we-
Before, we used to get the car, the year, the miles, or whatever.
Right.
But this is very expensive.
yes.
I like
Okay,
that replacement plan.
We'll bring, you're okay with time, aren't you? Can I finish up?
If I can, just for the purpose of autonomy for some of those vehicles, because they are coded cars, if I can get that list back from everybody. You can keep the other sheet, but just the list.
Oh,
just the
okay,
list back.
I got you.
It has tag numbers and signs.
This one,
we said no.
I put a little check mark.
Yeah, just-
You can break out the taser.
We'll show you the taser.
I put
Yeah,
a little
done.
check mark.
I can have this one, though, can I?
Yes, sir.
Is that all right?
Please keep the overview. I
Yes.
just asked for that back. I knew you'd ask for some visualization, so I wanted to make sure that.
Oh, mine has
No, I didn't have
check.
That's a good point.
And if somebody needs a copy of that, I will revise that and take some information off, and just, for the autonomy of the officers, I want to make sure that, I wanted to make sure that there wasn't anything that was.
Thank you for thinking of that.
That wasn't covered, and
Good job.
Captain's really brings up an excellent point.
Okay, let's talk about the body camera system for the personnel.
Okay, the body cameras for police officers has become a huge topic within the law enforcement community, and in fact, within society itself. I can pretty much tell you that this program isn't being implemented, it's definitely being discussed by pretty much every agency in the country right now. And, during our research, we reached out to agencies throughout the country, large, medium, and small, to see what their view was on it. And the reason being, the catalyst for the real discussion on the body cameras was several events that took place over the last year that drew national attention and really spotlighted police misconduct and use of force situations. Specifically, I'm sure everyone's familiar with the Ferguson, Missouri situation. That event had a catastrophic event and it had catastrophic circumstances on the whole community. So we took a look at that, and we were actually been discussing body cameras for probably the last 24 months, but this really sped up that conversation. So we figured, let's see what they did wrong out there, because we don't want what happened out there happen obviously in our community. And how could possibly body cameras better serve our police department and our community? And what we found out is by talking to different administrators throughout the country and reading different studies on it, that they definitely are an advantage to have on your officers that work the road. They definitely provide a way to increase accountability. You're able to audit an officer's activity because you could pull a tape and look at how they're conducting themselves, which will let you know if there's any training issues that might be developing that you could nip in the bud. It definitely also is a behavioral modification for the officer, because obviously if you know you're on camera,
Right.
you're more apt to act in a professional manner and not do anything inappropriate. The other byproduct of that is also, it kind of is a behavioral modification for citizens that you deal with, because everyone knows if you're on camera, you know you're going to act a lot different than if you weren't. There's been studies where it's reduced by about 60% use of force complaints with agencies. You limit the amount of frivolous lawsuits you get, because when you get complaints now, you can say, instead of having to do a long, drawn-out investigation, internal investigation, you say, let's go to the tape, and then you pull the tape, and generally, you can stop it right there, because it will, and generally, it benefits the officer, because it will exonerate him from whatever negative activity is being claimed that, look, you can see right here, this didn't happen, to stop. So it would actually benefit in that area. Also, it's a great benefit in evidence collection. When you're on scene and you're taking notes, getting statements, et cetera, you may have missed something. You know, when you're an officer on scene, he's walking around, gathering information, getting statements. This would allow him to go back and review the tape and actually get maybe a more thorough account of what took place, and even be able to video the scene itself. So we believe the pros outweigh the cons. The only cons that really come to the forefront is the cost. Generally, they're anywhere from $800 to $1,200 a piece. And the big cost is in the storage of the data. So we've already got 5 different demos of different cameras from different vendors, and we've had them out in the field and we field tested them. We're leaning towards, and I believe we want to go with TASER, because of the quality of product and the quality of service that we get from TASER. We already have a great relationship with TASER. They offer a service contract that for about, based on the amount that we'll get, it'll be in the area of $30,000 a year.
This is for storage of data?
Storage of data, but it also includes maintenance in the fact that if one breaks, gets damaged, they automatically replace it. If they come out with any kind of new technology, they'll replace them all. And every 2.5 years, they'll come in and replace all your cameras.
How many cameras?
Over a 5-year contract.
Have you found any to offer the camera and the services together? I mean,
TASER's really the only one that, because they're really head and shoulders above everyone else with their technology. The other aspect of theirs, they have the most advanced, what you call redacting technology. So when we have to pull that information, their technology is the best to be able to do that. Because we're anticipating, and this is the other con to it, we're anticipating, because it's new, there's going to be different requests under the Freedom of Information Act, and we're going to have to weigh the right to know with possibly compromising an investigation, that kind of thing.
What about training?
With the camera?
Right.
Yeah, the representative from TASER would come out and train the users in how to use it and how it operates, et cetera.
Yeah, and we'll have a quite extensive policy on regulating its use, and also determining when it has to be used.
I don't know whether they train a number of you and then you train others, or
There will be trainer,
Okay.
and we'll probably do that. And we're not jumping head first. This wouldn't happen tomorrow,
Right.
obviously. It's something that we're looking at to occur over the next 12 months, because like the chief said, we first have to come up with a very thorough policy that will address any concerns. And also, when you're coming up with a new policy, you have to take into account how that will potentially affect other policies that you have on the books.
So you don't need, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
You don't need, you have 38 police officers, right? You're looking for 40 to 90.
We're thinking that we're going to actually need about, I think we came up with a number of 35 cameras.
So everybody basically would have one.
Mm-hmm.
We would exclude at this point in time, CID, the detectives,
Right.
the administrative staff members.
Is it something that you could, we could phase in to the budget, such as you start with 14 of them, and then the following quarter it's another 14, or can we do a budget adjustment since
Yeah,
it's
well,
12 months from now? Can we just do a budget adjustment?
I know the chief has some suggestions for initially starting and getting started with different ways to.
Yeah, I mean, we could reach out to places like local VFWs who have purchased things for us in the past, like bicycles. They may very well be interested in covering the cost of, even if it's 2 cameras. You heard Corish here the other day offering to buy us bicycles.
Yep.
They may, I would reach out to them and ask them if they would be interested. But then also, we have the availability of our asset forfeiture account, which we could draw on to get the program started.
If what,
Based off of our research, it's best if you implement the program widespread. That way there's no feeling of isolation by officers about who has one, who doesn't. The exchange of changing that camera back and forth between officers, it creates that ownership. It's yours, it's designated to that officer. He's responsible for it and its contents, and then if something happens, we're not going back and pulling tape that we think is for you, that actually may be the mayor on it or something like that. So it's point specific, and what we direct our research is we implement the program, go with as much of it as you can at once. And for us, we think that that's feasible.
That, the question I was going to ask is, what's, to stop you from going shift to shift until we got to the accountability where we can then pay private?
Our experience has usually been like, we used to do that with our computers, and the wear and tear increases when you're constantly moving around.
I don't know that TASER allows for that. They may, but I know there was one that did not allow for transfer from officer to officer. That may have been the view.
There's probably serial numbers per officer. That way
Yeah.
You can retrieve the data for that, instead of having a hodgepodge of stuff and managing it, that'd be,
If you have to work overtime, something that would show who's got that camera.
Right.
And it really would be beneficial for everyone to have them, because if you're on a major scene and you have multiple officers there, you're gonna end up getting multiple views of that scene. So it's gonna give you a clearer picture of what's going on rather than a one narrow view.
Where is the camera on your uniform? How large is it? Or
There's a
where?
multiple ways they can wear them. They actually have them that mount on glasses, so it'll be eye, and then they have ones that can pin either on your lapel or the front of your shirt. We were discussing actually to make it more conducive for the officers, so you get some more buy-in, because you want your people kind of to buy in what you're doing. And we've got a lot of positive feedback from them. Maybe leaving it up to them where they feel more comfortable wearing it, whether they want to wear it on their glasses or have the one that pins in the front.
Is the data that you're gathering held up in a court of law? That you can use that for
Yes.
evidence?
Oh, yes, yes.
And actually, once the court finds that you have that footage, they're almost requesting it for every case.
So it could be
All right, so this
quick
isn't a
case,
fad.
once, yeah.
So it's not a fad, right?
Yeah.
We've actually reached out to agencies who have been using them for a couple of years, and they, nothing but praise on them. Not just for cases, but really specifically when there's false complaints coming in against officers. They said it's just relieved their workload because they can go right to the tape. I mean, when we get a complaint against officer and we do an investigation, it's an extensive process. And not only is it extensive, but a lot of times it's very stressful for the officer who's under investigation, and most of the time, it's unjustified. So it would alleviate that. It would alleviate stress on officers who get these false complaints against them.
Very good.
Sorry.
I was just gonna try to wrap it up.
Is there any civil rights issues?
Well, that's the other con to it, it's up in the air. They're anticipating that there's gonna be challenges down the road, ACLU, that kind of thing. So
Yes.
I think that's going to be, right now, the recommendation, the best practices are, you can have it on if, wherever the officer has a legal right to pay.
Like open view or something like that?
Generally, they're saying your regular, should be considered law enforcement activity, in other words, arrests, calls for service, search warrants, traffic stops. Any kind of just general contact, I walk up to you on the street, we're having a conversation, shouldn't be on. I'm walking in the 7-Eleven, having a conversation, shouldn't be on.
Hopefully, so you have to remember to turn it off.
Exactly.
Well, that's where the policy comes in. We're gonna have strict policy on it. That's the other recommendation. You want to make sure that it's pretty clear when you have it on, when you have it off. You don't wanna have too much discretion, so the officer's constantly thinking, should I have it on, should I have it off? So that's gonna be a real policy issue.
Very good. And one last comment, I think Cheney just pulled this up for us. It said no discount from our insurance company by using the cameras, but in the long run, it could prevent liability claims or lower the premiums. All right, any questions regarding body armor? Your last item was, you're on a personnel issue, your civilian employees of more than 1 year service, you're requesting a 5% increase in their salary. And
Yes.
I think that goes along with, there hasn't been any type of merit increase to any civilian in your department since 2011.
Right.
Any department.
I guess
In
in
any
any
department,
department.
well, and that was the other part
What
of
we
it.
do for one, we should do for all.
Yes. So I hear you loud and clear. Chief, is there anything that you missed when you're with this that would provide a better service to residents of our town?
Well, addressing the car issue, because I've never been a big fan of giving somebody a car right out of the gate. I always thought that they should have to wait, but our competition is giving it to them right out of the gate. And I think that's something that's important. It goes hand in hand with our recruitment. You know, I mean, the town's done fabulous in keeping us up to par with other agencies as far as pay, the benefits, the retirement, and, you know, everybody's looking for a better way to attract, and the car is becoming a factor. In fact, we've lost, I think, two candidates that went up over to the sheriff's department in the past year and a half, 2 years, based on the fact that they're going to get that big car immediately, you know, once they completed the training. So that, and a commitment to do an expansion of the K-9 unit too. I think.
And just for insert here is that I've compared our take-home car policy versus the sheriff's departments, and ours is probably the strictest in the county versus the sheriff's department, the state police, and other municipalities. So we have researched that, and
Yeah,
In what facet?
we don't allow for personal use.
They don't
You
allow
cars to
any
go back and
personal
forth to work.
to and from work, to and from work, to and from training, and that's it.
The only exception to that is to command staff under certain circumstances and our on-call detectives, but I think most of the people don't even.
How long do they have to wait?
Well, right now, it's in whenever we have a car available. I mean, we have folks that have worked for us for a number of years and don't have the availability of the car because we don't have them to give, so.
Right now, we're using the criteria, once you come in as a first class, if you live within the county, we have a car available.
Very good. All right, thank you guys.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you
you.
for your time.
And listen, before we get to, I guess, who are we gonna do, Dan or Gene, or who we want to do? Gene?
It doesn't matter, I have a meeting at 6 here anyway, so if you do Dan, I'm staying anyway.
All right, we'll do Dan next, but I wanted to open the floor back up to Earl. He had a couple of comments.
Just 5 minutes? It's for the Parks and Rec, since I'm representing them. I was just out there talking to them for about maybe 20 minutes, it threw me off. And some of the things that really was not identified, because Mary's a little shy, but she wanted to know if we could give the Parks and Rec their own Facebook page.
Why don't they have one?
They want to make sure that they have their own Facebook page, so they can start to use more, okay?
That should be included.
Okay, so that's one. The mailing out activity guide to the public, they got away from that. but
They sure did.
That's something that is really needed. So can we try to get that back in place? And the big one was I really thought highly on this one. we talked about the truck that's being used for, the shift right now. When they're out in the park and an emergency happens right now, they have young kids that they have to bring back. They wanted to have an SUV because they don't have no place to put the little kids' boosters and nothing. They're gonna ride them back safely. They have to throw them into a vehicle that doesn't even suit the kids in case of emergency.
Didn't we used to have a van?
So,
The van.
That thing, yeah,
But-
yeah, you got a van already.
but
Yeah, Dan got the van.
Yeah, we got rid of that.
Well, Richie Brothers got.
but here's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
When they ask for an SUV, he asked about the wish list.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my little catch there. We have money that we set aside. Okay, so that's not, you get me?
Yeah, we'll put it in the budget.
Oh,
Oh.
here we go. Here's my kicker. We have money,
you already. You better.
we have money that we set aside for recreational use or for the facility that we haven't done anything for yet. Out over at the 500-some thousand. I suggest we take money out of there and just buy an SUV from that money, because it's for equipment used for the parks and rec.
They want the SUV for the van.
That's what I'm asking, I'm opening this up for them. That sounds good.
Yeah, I think she should put it in the budget and give us a chance to hack it.
Okay, okay, I'm just throwing it out there. And Dan went
Back
over,
away.
okay, and Dan went over to look at the door, because it is a safety issue. I just seen a couple people walking in there.
What about
Yeah,
the
lots of doors.
page?
Okay.
Why doesn't she have it?
I have no clue, but I just want to bring it up. I'm done.
But why there was no Facebook page?
I haven't put.
Phyllis, you, everybody should have a Facebook page. That
Okay.
is like free advertising.
Huh?
We
Facebook
don't
doesn't
want
cost
to.
anything?
No, no.
Our comments were not.
I think
You
she's
don't
just
want-
curious whether it would be authorized.
I get the call, so why tell people we
Okay,
did it?
I'm done.
Why I'm saying small, but here, get those.
No,
I don't know how to
Get a
set
bunch
up
of
Facebook.
no.
Okay, all
I
right, so
just, when
that's,
somebody asked me to be a friend, and I said, okay.
that's my request
That was
for Mary's request list again.
Now, you said that the vehicle's an SUV, wouldn't it be more appropriate for a van?
But, well,
SUV will move very many people.
She can hold people in.
yeah.
I nominate the mayor's salary.
Well, I think too, I think that would be like a caravan.
Just say yes.
Yeah, a van.
Okay,
everything else.
so, this is, but they still want to keep the truck because they carry equipment, but they would like to have
I see you guys
an
have.
SUV or a van.
Why can we do that under the same
We did.
contract?
No, I didn't say that, you said.
Okay.
That was
Submit
it.
an additional request.
Oh, no, you said-
Okay, here we go, sorry. You can go now, we'll put that in the budget.
Brian.
Did you make a note of that little second one? Caravan or,
No, I'm gonna check with.
Hey, Alfred.
General Services
okay.
And see what Maryland
I
contract.
got present three, that's what's gonna go last.
All right, Public Works, Public Works.
All you gotta do is say yes, yes and nod, and we're happy.
Real quickly, before we get on with yours, Dan.
Yes.
Does the maintenance of this building fall under Dan, or it does?
No,
It's not my budget.
no, there's
Budget-
no,
budget goes different.
Except for budget,
you don't have that in front of you, it's just for building maintenance.
Okay.
It wasn't unique.
Well, I mean, but if somebody calls him.
And I forgot to mention-
It's under 150 building.
The reason behind that is there's a few things that I think that what I'd like to see some improvements with this, and I forgot to mention to the chief, but I did say to him the other day to get a price on that new carpet over there, or some type of carpeting. I was told his floor over in the police department is just like, so I didn't know if that went under Dan's. Okay, very good.
Yeah,
All right.
we'll need to price or something.
Oh, they call me when things don't work, and I go, yeah, they don't work. It's how it is.
I got it, but do.
Earl left, didn't he?
Mhm.
Okay, well, and where's DJ? Okay, we'll give DJ a second.
Just say aye.
I forgot another thing for the chief.
Aye, approved.
Walk,
Move on.
I got a lot for Dan here, though.
There's a shocker.
Maybe we can dress you up in it.
Police Department number three.
I can do that.
Sunglasses on.
Department number 320, and the following green bar, that will be page number, 13, the 5 starts from 12. That's all for.
13 is public.
Public Works.
You're the glue that keeps it rolling.
All right, very good. Dan, you are on, and thank you for coming, and what you're doing is giving us an overview of your line items, and if there's anything that's far above and beyond what we've had over the last previous years, kind of give us some information on why we're requesting it. So we can kind of go page by page, if that's okay with you, or?
Whatever you want.
Yeah, let's kind
I'm
of,
here.
okay,
We can start with the valve exercising machine.
Got it in there.
The
340.
other day I was out with Mark opening and closing valves, and let me tell you, we definitely need a machine for that, because that's a job.
I can imagine. Well, I saw it in there. You had
One valve.
initially put in a reorganization of your
Yes.
Public Works Department. Is that something you've implemented, or starting to implement, or?
I need certain, from the board, I need 3 new hires, that's what I'm looking at. If you go to page 2, that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking for a person to fill the grass services. I'd like to put something for the central purchaser, I know we can talk about that in a time. And I'm looking for a small tool mechanic, which will also help out the existing mechanics where his particular job be day to day. Something comes in, they jump on the little things, keep it that way. Therefore, your mechanic and their helper can do the bigger things. Because when EPD cars roll in, they can concentrate on those things, so they can do the longer term things in-house. And this particular small tool mechanic will just, you do your weed eaters, you do your lawnmowers, he fixes the plows at the end, that's what you need, something where his day will be fluctuating, and then the mechanics have a chance to do better schedules over, to be easier on that. So.
Have you budgeted in as far as salaries for?
No.
Okay, so-
Depending on what you approve, and then what happens, finance will actually budget in accordingly, so that's how it kind of works. So.
But
See, a lot of people think that all they do down there is work on vehicles, but they have
look up the
Pumps
salary.
and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
We've got pumps, we've got chainsaws,
I mean,
we
why
got
why
lots of
wouldn't
stuff.
you have a why wouldn't you think of, yes, I want to do that, how much would that add to the budget? Why wouldn't you do the other way?
Oh, can I? I could,
No, I was actually wondering if you would look, a central purchaser, I mean, what do they cost, 35? Is that a position that's 35 to 40,000?
no, probably not that. Do something private, you're probably closer to 50 for that particular position.
You know, we've talked about this before, we're kind of scratch our heads at what their function would be when you have 2 very unique areas that require purchasing, and that the police, they're so specialized, they kind of do their thing as a public works, and anyone centralized would be more of a purchasing agent for the admin side, and, you know, that.
Sorry, I didn't mean
I'm not
to
sure.
take that.
We already have a central purchaser out of Cheney.
Well, I think we're kind
It
of.
was more along the lines of Dan
the function
asking
would be.
for
Right.
3 people, and then what money value comes with those 3 people into his budget is what I'm looking
Right.
at.
Yeah, well.
But
That's all-
he's just
that's all I'm
saying,
looking
he's
for.
just questioning the idea of a
Yeah,
central purchase.
right, and then if someone, if the board's approval, you know, we could look at where they were replacement, of course, come up with the numbers for the salary, but we're not sure what types of positions.
No, I understand, right. The main thing is that
Once
we
again, there are no
yeah.
salaries in these
Right.
budget requests at this point.
I also did ask for 2 additional summer help as well. I did ask for 2 additional just seasonal people.
So if you could implement your chart, you're basically in the one position, you would have a stormwater management program manager.
Who's there? Yes.
You'd have your infrastructure coordinator.
Yes,
You'd have a general foreman.
yes.
You'd have the purchasing and then office support. So basically, you're only managing 5 people. per se.
Exactly, because right now I've got like 17,
Mhm.
so. That's where we are with that one.
Okay, I
That's why,
understand.
that's why I want to do some central reorganization. It's important for their thing.
It's more organized. And the purchasing side of things, that could be, currently you have a purchasing agent.
I have a clerk, I can hire a clerk to do purchasing just for my goals, I can hire that. And then take my existing one and slide him over for a promotion because he'd be good as a foreman. But I know we talked about it previously, the board's talked about like a central purchaser. That's why I wanted to leave it after to the board, you know. We want to tell your position of what's what. Regardless, I want the purchase to work on me because I do, you know, see my green bars, I do all the purchasing. So that's why it's easier, just the majority of the purchases here are probably about 70% probably by department, so.
And most of the purchases that we have are already contracted purchases. Help me understand if we put a purchasing agent into, well, let me start over. Is your guy asking for a purchase order number from here at headquarters, or how's that work?
Oh, there's a limit.
Well,
No, I want to know.
Ideally.
Ideally, yes.
Ideally, requisition is filled out for, 20 widgets, whatever the case may be.
Before the purchase.
Before the purchase is made or the goods and the goods or services are received. That's the ideal, that's the sequence of events. A requisition is filled out requesting the purchase of these goods or this service that will come over here and, with the account number and with the vendor information filled out, or maybe left blank if it's there, you don't know where they're coming from, it's usually filled in. And then a purchase order will be issued.
However, the nature of my
And then the
beast
purchase
is,
would,
yeah.
then
Yeah,
be
invoice
made.
Is there a big delay? I
reflecting
mean,
on
is
So
burning
there-
costs
the reality
and
is, a requisition will come with an invoice attached to it of
Yeah.
a previous date, much previous date.
Oh, so you're
So
getting,
it's, by then, it's already a commitment of the town to pay the bill. So rather than a purchase order is intended to set the money aside or encumber the money, whatever you want to call it. So it will be available for when the bill comes in, if the goods and services have been received. But the reality is, very often, when the requisition is done, there's already a payment due, the town, it's already accounts payable to the town. So we're kind of get those steps as almost.
We're doing everything paper?
Yes, we are.
There's your first problem.
is there, well, of course, we can spin this, or not spin, but we can talk about the purchasing agent side of, for the rest of the night, I know, and let's, I see you have the position open, so let's move on.
Exactly, I mean, just long term.
And, so let's go to,
Now, the way, let me just,
Yep.
introductory to this budget, I've got like 3 different ones. I got a 320, which is the general fund, my public works. Second tab is 340, which is the water fund, which involves all 7 training. I have certain items in there, which I've kind of updated, and 350 is the sewer fund. So that's why you have 3 particular funds, wrapped in this particular budget, so.
okay, the first on the 320 fund,
Yes.
the first item is telephones. I guess my first comment is, are we paying for the phones for all workers?
We know workers. Anyway, we have, some of our guys have cell phones, so the department, crew leaders have them, not everybody. Crew leaders have them, and certain people won't call have them. So, probably about maybe 12, 13.
Okay.
I have like 35 people, so most people don't need them, but the ones that need them, they have.
So it's basically your crew leaders and supervisors?
Yes. And we have the radio system too, so that's the reason why they don't need cell phones, so. Correct. You guys have to direct connect to save money too, so.
All right, professional services, help me understand what that item is.
Majority of that's all your DOT physicals. Most that's all Ahmed.
So that would be
That's your,
certification for your guys.
your DOT certifications.
Testing.
Actually, alcohol tests and everything. Yeah.
You also have random tests too, every so often, so, you get caught up for randoms.
Okay, postage is on zone, I understand the travel and meal side of it. Dues and subscriptions, understand that. Repairs and maintenance.
There we go.
All right, all maintenance charges and repair purchase of vehicles and small equipment, and you've got a budget, you're requesting more.
Yes.
And are you thinking that there's gonna be more breakdowns for next year, or?
They're trade-offs. Your fleet's getting older, and, I can show you everything from, here's everything we have in our department, if you want to take a look, to pass it around. Basically, there you go. Basically, out of all your vehicles we have, I have 7 of them, which are from 2010 and on. I've got 28, which were from 2000, 2010, out of that range. From 2005 to 2009, I get 19 vehicles. I've got 9 which are older than 2005 back to 2000, and I got 3 back from the 90s. So, because basically it's just like you said, Mayor, we're either get an implement to switch them out occasionally, or you get more repairs. So I've included both corporations in this particular budget. So depending how it turns out to be, and unlike other departments, I could plan for anything. I got to plan for a snowstorm. I can plan for hurricane. Who knows ever hit? I had a derecho. Is that how you said, Louis? What's that windstorm?
Gotcha.
Derecho?
Oh, the ratio.
Yeah, that was in September. We had to clean up that
Went
stuff.
to the
So,
heights.
yeah, went to the heights.
John Denver's building and all that.
Yeah. So basically, I'm planning for anything. So that's why when we put these things together with realistic budgets, assuming on past history, it's assuming how we do. That's why I try to cover. I try to encumber as much as I can. so.
Okay, so going back to the vehicles, could there be a plan that you could put in place that we cycle all the trucks and equipment out after every 8 years or 9 years?
I'd be glad to put that together.
I'd love to see that. I'd love to see what that, and specify what you think the cost per year is gonna be for the next 8 years. And I think that would be a good number to work with.
Jump on 99, you'll see, there are a bunch in there,
You
so.
need to include equipment too, pumps,
Oh, sure.
chainsaws and all stuff like that, because we have an emergency, you can't have equipment that won't work.
Mhm.
1984 International.
Yeah, we still have it yet.
Well, I remember when we
You're
bought
not
that skid
paying full
loader.
price of tags.
Yeah, actually, the skid still holds up pretty well, I mean, 3 years, that's why, you know, realistically, you know, if things work, they're great, you know, it's just what.
That's right, you're right.
We do, and the mileage you look at, they're hard miles, so you can tell, you know, we're pretty hard. Yeah, we're just breaking it in. What use your vehicle, Lou? It's
Okay, so the maintenance is the maintenance. Contracted services for maintenance. You got $3,000. Annual maintenance agreements.
It's each one, I can tell.
Object number 30.
That's on Bob, you fix it all up.
Object number 30,
Okay.
Dan, $3,000 for maintenance workers.
Yes.
What is that, may I ask?
Contracted services, that could be things which don't get incorporated. We have some stuff like from Bradley Electric, we have stuff from Collins Business who takes care of our phones, yeah, the maintenance for those guys. We also have some Rick Bernie stuff, it all depends. Most of the stuff, if I do contracted services, or go to the 340, 350 count. Some of them, they stick in here in 320, so it all depends on the stuff. Yeah, the ice maker, the ice maker, yeah, we have an ice maker annual agreement, we got my phone's annual agreement, and that seems to be the bulk of it right there. And we have some odds and ends get put in there
What
as
was the
well.
large, what was the large increase after 14?
What about Magnus?
67.
Oh, that was a one-time, the reason why that jumped up is because when we moved the, radio tower, when we did the blue ball tower, we had to move the tower. When we moved my radio tower, we had to get relicensed from FCC.
Bell Hill.
Hill Hill, yeah. So that had to do with the FCC. So I get my license.
All right, next page, we got, once again, contracted services other.
Some of that gets mixed into 340, 350, or 27, all depends. Like, sometimes it depends on how the things get mixed into this one, so
Okay.
let's keep it the same way. I put the tax history.
Engineering, you've got,
Hold on, Rob.
yep,
You had, in 13, you had 11.2, 14, you had 84, and you're only budgeting for 3,000 this year.
It depends, again, it depends, like, some things get mixed into it, depends on how they put it in. Some of these are extra 27. That's why my 27 account gets lower from previous years, but some of it gets mixed into 31.
Is there any way we can combine all those accounts and make it one line item? Steve, is that possible, or
Well, of course.
they're all kind of contracted services other, unless you got,
This one's others.
Yeah.
We can look into it.
yeah, you got
Yeah, I
30
mean,
and
it's,
31 and 27, well, I see
We
what
have
you're-
contract
maintenance about identity, but
I thought, when I saw maintenance, I was actually thinking vehicles or small engines or something like that, when I saw maintenance.
no, I
And
think
then
most of
other,
the
I was
maintenance agreements
thinking,
like top
Maintenance
tier,
agreements.
and the regular maintenance agreements more come from that. There should be coded to that, but as long as they, there's perfect coding of all the invoices as they come in. Yeah, there's a lot of description, a lot of different accounts, a lot of descriptions, some of which are somewhat similar, really.
I just, yeah.
Okay, the question was, when we consolidate them, you're gonna look into it.
Yeah, I mean, if cars, there's contracted services and regardless of the category.
Keep it the code, I'll put anything you want in it.
Yeah.
It's an option, and maybe make it clearer, and then we'll have it lined out. Yeah, it's way over. It's way over.
That's my only concern, is that we're gonna budget the right amount of money, since you're quadrupling.
And using the next item on 320 object 032, we had budgeted amounts, and of course, we blew those out too. What's the engineering, is that the engineering like for, would that been the cost that we were doing over in the Heights? Is this where this would go?
No, 32 is all KCI for the most part. It's all depending on what projects are out there. Like, I use them to help me put the road project out, but a lot of times, things can happen upon me. It depends on engineering, depends on your, anything you do, a lot of times you get buried into this account, into KCI, any of your other projects.
Yeah, it could be like the parking lot.
Could be a parking lot, it could be anything.
So the Buttonwoods, well,
Buttonwoods, well, I haven't used them for that one, but
Well,
well,
no, I was
they
thinking about the
engineered
Blankenship property. We were looking at doing that road and you had the KCI out there. Is this where this would fall?
yes.
Okay.
What projects do you have this year that would be just 20 grand?
The 20 grand, the main thing is I need to do some more surveying at my Jones Chapel station. I mean, that's what I got for the time being, so I'd like to
expand
that one slowly, exactly. So I'll do some surveying for that one. And then the road restoration for 2016, 2015, I'm putting that together now, so that's probably all I've got.
Do we get any
Jones Chapel
reimbursement
Road
for
site,
that?
we own quite a bit of land. I'm not prepared to say how much because I don't have the file, but we basically utilize all the open part. So if we can remove some of the trees and expand that site for our use for storage of materials and everything, we need to expand what's called an erosion instead of a control plan, everything, and grow it up, and turn it into diesel soil. So there's a lot of technical stuff involved in that.
At Ford property.
The
you know.
Ford property, yeah,
Right,
just the
right.
ACI.
MD, exactly. If the other town uses KCI, a lot of times it gets dumped into this one, so that's kind of how it works. Which is
When
fine.
KCI
Yeah, I
uses,
mentioned here.
Yeah, we should take that.
when we use it for anything, it gets dumped into DPW?
What's that?
Sometimes.
Some-
If we use KCI for anything, it gets dumped into DPW?
If there were, like water audit, anything that, we break up into,
Water would go
whether it's water or sewer fund,
340
it should be
Right.
320, that's correct.
Get the Ford though, that's the other thing.
Yeah, Ford, we're surveying the Ford property for a sidewalk,
Right.
potential,
Yeah,
project that,
Locust Lane.
Mhm.
yeah, that are general fund engineering type activities as opposed to specific for the water and sewer fund.
Mhm.
All right, look at page 10, office supplies, printer ink cartridges, it's been about, I see what your request is and what the actual is, all right. Supplies operating,
There you go.
you got a big bump there, increase of $50,000 for downtown revitalization of seasonal lights, banners, and that's something I talked to you
Right.
about also.
The banners, I mean, you can tell by the wreaths, I mean, they're tired. They see many, much better days, so.
So our Christmas wreaths, our banners,
Yes.
so it's kind of an estimate, once we determine if we want to go that route.
Yes, exactly.
to include those.
Mhm.
That's what that was.
Yes.
It's a lot of money.
Well, because, but when's the last time you updated? I mean, those, you see the reason up front, it's like, yeah, they seem much better days, so.
Very good.
Mhm.
Minor equipment, you're looking at additional grass cutting equipment, 2 trimmers and 2 blowers.
Get your small tools, exactly, just fills it up as it goes.
You know, once again, talking about a maintenance plan,
Mhm.
I know like the first week I was here, there was some discussion about our lawnmowers. And I could have swore I had some information on it that our newest lawnmower is like a 2002 or 2005. I'm not sure.
Maybe 2005.
And once again, I think the same thing with lawnmowers. If we could put them in some type of program to where we're replacing every 7 or 8 years, our fleet, I think we'd be far better off from acquiring parts and repairs and maintenance.
I agree.
So maybe provide us with that also.
Sure.
I'm not guaranteeing anything,
I
but.
understand. And going back to the vehicles themselves, we've been looking at leasing. When I am opposed to looking at leasing, I've got my purchaser now seeing what's out there to say, hey, can we lease the 5 tons, can we lease trucks? We're not opposed to doing that either. We're trying to get some data together, but it does make sense to rotate your fleet, and you save on the maintenance costs. But we're trying to think outside the box, but we're still trying to put some ideas together, so.
Training and education, you increased it. What's the thinking there?
You never know what pops up within the year. Like, if we've got a training opportunity for my guys, if it's worthwhile, I bring them in. It depends on what's offered to me, so I just like to keep it up there.
One of the things, there's a program or an organization associated with the University of Maryland
That has seminars for people for
Mhm.
how to manage applications of hot mix asphalt or patching or sidewalk or curb construction, things like that. And they offer seminars. and they're not real expensive.
About $100, and that's
Yeah,
worthwhile. We get it all
but
the
they're
time.
good for him, is that T2?
Yeah, T2 Center.
Yeah, the T2 Center, and they might have a program for any number of Department of Public Works related training events. And then
Maintenance.
a lot of different agencies go to them, and I would suggest, or I have suggested to him that more of our people attend those. The downside about it is you take people out of the workforce during the
Well, you
course of
know,
that training, but
Locally,
They need to have that
the
training.
week of March 16th at the Baltimore Convention Center is the World of Asphalt. So it would be a great show that maybe.
Let's do a roadie, we'll do a roadie.
Yeah, and it's so close. It's at the Baltimore Convention Center. You can take a look and see when you can, how you can get tickets. But from an asphalt side of things, I think anything you ever wanted to know about asphalt and training classes that day could be there. And anything we can do to, anything we can do to improve the quality of our service.
I agree.
Okay, uniforms, I see an increase there. Okay, next page, when we get to curbs, gutters, and sidewalks. I see that our actual hadn't, you were budgeted a lot more over the last several years, and you haven't used what was budgeted. Is there a reason why we didn't get to do those? Were we shorthanded with man?
We shorthanded with man, we're trying to do some more to fix the roads versus doing the curbs. We try to do a little bit of both, so. Now from last year's road project, road restoration, I was able to pave a lot of patches. Because of that, we're in a better mood. Now I can go back and I can improve some sidewalks. I have to get some sections of sidewalks at a time. That's my goal for the year.
one of the things you have to consider is that if we can upgrade a road that includes sidewalks during a road restoration project, we include the sidewalk as part of that road restoration project. So you won't actually see it from here, it'll come out of HUR money.
Very good.
You know what I'm saying? But if it's just sidewalks, you can't use HUR money for that.
So now that goes to the next page on the highway revenue fund.
Other biggie.
You're requesting 300,000 now.
That's not
That's
a
not
good number.
That's not a good number.
The number will be simply the estimate we get from state of Maryland as to what our share of highway use revenue.
And we're hoping that we're getting an 11% increase in
Well,
that with our fingers crossed right now. But we also have money available, we haven't spent all of our.
That's correct. That's correct.
We have what's called restricted funds. In other words, money that was allocated by HUR funds that are in our piggy bank, so to speak, that we can only use for road and bridge projects.
Well, and those are other things that we talked about.
So, I mean, you know, like, we needed to, we only got $300,000 worth of revenue, but we had $500,000 worth of road, we just take $200,000 out of that piggy bank that's allocated for that, because it's restricted for that use only. So we've had that reserve, but they can't be used for any other thing other than
Yes.
roads. You know,
And you do have some.
And I think that number was close to $900,000 if I'm not
It was a
mistaken.
healthy number.
So, so we had quite a bit in the,
But you have some
but
big
we have to
roads.
have a use for it.
No, exactly. What I do is, we try to get together, like, when it comes to road restoration project, I will send something out to the board. When I get my numbers together, this is what I'm thinking about doing to make sure you guys have an idea where the money's being spent, so, you know what's what.
There's a biggie coming up.
You have a biggie coming up.
Chesapeake Boulevard.
Yes.
That'll be,
That'll be a large.
The state is, SHA is estimating about 99,000 for the new year. But that's.
How much is it?
99,000 new money for the new upcoming.
And what was it last year? So it'd be 99 plus.
It's about 97,000. Well, we had the one-time distribution, we got 326,000 in.
So maybe close to
14.
400,000 possibly.
Well. Where'd you get that from?
Yeah, I would say it's back with the county.
We got 326 in FY14 the current year.
And
I'm
then-
sorry, FY15.
And then plus another 11%.
They're projecting, well,
The Shell Chesapeake Boulevard.
January
That's these
5th,
trucks
they
that
project
go
we're
over
at
the-
$99,000
Okay.
a year. But again, we're,
No, we're at the other one.
in fact, sitting on about $1 million from prior years.
So you
The
go from
cash we
highway
received is
back.
not yet spent.
We'll find a home
That's the best,
for that.
best bang for the buck. Well, we just,
Yeah, cover roads is gonna use
that's the
a
best
lot
way
of
of saving.
But the upper Chesapeake, I agree with you, that's gonna take a
blow
lot.
that.
That'll take-
That's why I have to be cautious about doing it, so.
Very good.
Actually, the money reserve wouldn't cover it. The Chesapeake Boulevard itself, if you went from one end to the other, it wouldn't cover it. That's what I have to be smart about.
no, we'll, part of it, the first part down to the, probably Nolan's new building, will probably be the part we have to cover.
Yeah, exactly. But if you did the whole building, the whole road would be gone.
That's a big
So that's why you have to be cautious in what you do. Doesn't take much to blow. I wrote that this time.
Okay, page 17, you got your snow and ice removal, it jumped up from 35 to 75.
Yes. I mean, so far this year, I've gone through almost 1,200 tons of ice.
Me salt.
I went salt, yeah. I've done a lot more.
And ice.
Yes, and ice. So we've done that so far. I think I've spent, out of the 46, I had another order on top of that because it literally just ran out again. So now we're restocked again for another 200 tons, so.
Well, as we know, you can't predict weather.
Wouldn't it be best if, for us looking at it, to go back, I mean, weather's such a cycle.
Yeah.
You go back 10 years.
Yeah, that's what I'm
and
saying,
take
that's what I'm saying, that's
the
why I
average
bumped it up,
cost
so.
of from 75.
Mhm.
Just look at the average cost over 10 years.
Okay.
We have those numbers, right?
Again, but that goes back to what I did
Oh, yeah.
at the beginning. Right. But I go back to the beginning because I'm covering for all contingencies, that's all. That's what.
We've had some really mild winters, and we've had very harsh winters. And actually, this winter I've been that
Don't
bad.
take
Oh, no,
it-
it was a bad snow, but for ice, I think we've gone through a lot of salt just because of the ice.
Storm drains, you're requesting more than you're actually using. Are we fixing these storm drains in with the H?
That ties in with the 34 account, that's the reason why. Some of it we tie in with the 72 fund, some of this Excel. Again, this is tied in with my 34 and my 27 account.
How much of
That's
it is
why
tied
it's
into the
what-
34 account? Wait a second, 34 account is,
General operating supplies, just general operating.
yeah,
That's what it is.
why would you,
Supplies operating.
Just in case of any masonry and stuff like that, you know, I mean, your catch basins are in bad shape, but a lot of times.
You're talking about buying grates and stuff like that?
Yeah, buying grates and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's frames and grates
Yeah.
is what he's talking about, not necessarily construction or reconstruction. And you can put that under supplies.
Yeah, but on supplies, so you can cut this down, like I said, it's sometimes the costs are encapsulated because we have so many budget codes, sometimes they incorporate other budget
would
codes
it
as
be,
well.
would it be best suited for us? How many catch basins are there?
Oh, wait a minute.
Do we need it? Do we need an
Add-on.
adding machine?
Yes.
No, no.
Add-on.
Okay, how about just an educated guess? I don't
No,
need
we'll
to
give you
exact
real
number.
numbers.
We're getting
We're
ready.
not educated here. We'll
Everybody's
give you real
starting
numbers.
like, what a number. We'll give you
No, I
that.
don't know.
What table?
It's not
Lottery
in the
number,
draft.
winning.
Oh, yeah.
It's in the back.
It's
I can find it. That's what I'm looking for,
the
right?
very next to last page.
I think
The last
we're low.
Like 1,500 or something.
Yeah,
Say
let's go with
1575, any 1575 or
Catch
something?
bases,
1575?
what's your, how
1575?
about 1,658?
That was close.
All right, 16.
Right,
So my concern with this is, my understanding is a lot of these catch basins are in need of repair.
Oh, you ain't kidding. Yes.
So, yeah, anything that's associated with a catch basin, why wouldn't you just put it in your 074 account? Why would you take a rate and throw it into your 34 account?
The reason why is because it goes back to reorganization. Right now, because of my personnel limitations, I don't have a catch basin crew. If I have a catch basin crew, which will
Well,
go
you
into
would
the
still, but
infrastructure.
it has to do
Yeah.
with a catch basin.
But it
so-
would be put in that account, yes. Yes. It'd be
I
put
would,
there.
I mean, Mayor, it's your budget, I would prefer that it be put in, anything to do with the catch basin, I prefer it to be put in there because it has everything to do with the catch basin, not
Sure.
operating supplies.
Well, I certainly think that we need to categorize these things a little bit better so that we'll have a better understanding.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, the requisition will come in.
So the requisition goes with
Dan.
Dan with it saying it's in 034 and it comes to
Right,
you
and
for the
there
PO.
may, and we can correct it, we can change it,
But
and
we
we
might
can
not know.
question
You may
it.
not
We
know.
may not know because it's not
That's fine.
described as
DPW.
catch supplies or freight or print or whatever.
It would just help as far as
Sure.
maintenance
Well,
moving
that's
forward
what we-
and how much money we have to set aside
Right.
for all of these things.
So just whoever codes it.
Because if you put in a different account.
That's one different
You
code.
don't
That's
know.
different.
I don't know. All right, page 19, your capital. This is the part that gets the red ink out, I guess.
There you go.
All right, you're looking for replacement of 2 5-ton Sterling dump trucks.
Yes.
You explain here that it would be for the, you're removing 2 out of service?
Yes. The trouble with the Sterlings, Sterlings are not made anymore. They're physically getting parts. It's the hard part of keeping those things in place. So what we're doing is, instead of getting out the 5 tons, we're looking at the possibility of getting some F-750 trucks, which are the bigger size trucks, and equipping with a bed and the salt removal package, and the snow removal package, And they turn it to be just a little bit smaller than 5 ton, but they'll suit our purposes better, so. What it does, I've split it into 3 different funds. I split it into 320, 340, 350.
So you'd be using it for water and sewer?
Water,
and-
sewer,
and
it's
public
everything right
works.
here, yes.
What would the,
Mm-hmm.
what would they be used for the water and sewer?
Oh, whenever we excavate out, we would dig things out.
Repair breaks.
Yes, all the repair breaks. You'll see them, we use one today, another one tomorrow. You'll see, go to Brompton Court, you'll see it tomorrow, yes.
The, do you know what the return on value is for the 2 that you want to take out of service?
I have to look that up, but that's the reason why, that's why I'm glad that the boards have proven the whole idea about recycling the vehicles themselves, because the 2 schools of thought, either you keep them for a point and then you sell them, which makes the most sense, and you get the money in and keep rotating, or you beat them to the dead.
I like how you threw in the approved
Yes.
verbiage in there.
Hey, it's on videotape.
Right.
It's on videotape, means it's gotta be true, so.
Sure.
But how much is it worth? I'd have to research that, probably rate of return, I don't know, maybe 8, 10 grand each, maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure.
They both run.
Yeah, they both run, yeah, they both run. I just don't know what a 5-ton goes for. We've never sent one down there yet.
And do you assign these trucks to individual people?
The water and the sewer crew kind of gets, for the most part, the trucks themselves, because they have CDL drivers. Now, when we actually remove snow with them, yes, they actually have, we assign certain snow teams and certain drivers, so they're the ones that actually have these particular trucks. But during the week, generally, you have an idea, like if it's water, we'll dedicate 1 truck to the water and 1 truck to the sewer, so. And then sewer department.
But not to an individual.
Not these, no, not in the 5 tons. We'll give them to a certain amount of
No.
people. Right.
Even the 250s, the 350s, none of those you assign to individuals?
They're assigned to crews, and then from the crews, and what happens to crew leaders will actually determine who drives them. For the most part, it's the same people day in, day out, but these particular, the 350s, I send them to a certain, certain crew, and then from there, they descend them from there. So in other words, I know it's within the 3 people driving it, so.
Dan, you're looking at also 4 salt units for each of these, I guess? or-
Oh, those 6, you see them in the back of the trucks, that's why they're much more effective. They're very good, and if you get an icing event, you can bring your trucks out there, the smaller trucks, leave the bigger trucks back, and then you can just salt the neighborhoods. Because we have a lot of tight spots, you can tell by some of the pictures I've sent the board. Some of them get pretty dicey.
So you're also looking for 2 replacement trucks for the F-350s, or you're wanting 2 more F-350s, correct?
Yeah, 2 more F-350s, and they would replace these particular trucks, 2007, 2008, so.
Okay, a dump trailer.
Yes, small dump trailer. It's a
You're
small
looking for
roads.
a dump body truck with a plow and salt spreader.
I got one that just, this, again, it's a great example where I've got, unit 3311, it's a 2001 at 350. It's how much money you put into it. I mean, you can either put $5 grand into the machine, which is worth $5 grand, and keep it running, or you recycle it as they go out. Those are the 2 differences. So, and again, it's 2 schools of thought, Either run it to the ground, or you try to get some value out of it. And I think getting value out of it, I think recently at Ritchie Brothers, we've done pretty well, at least to a point. I mean, I've sold, how many trucks sold, about 4? I've sold 4 trucks down there so far, and I think my rate of return is probably about, maybe 10,000.
For, at the Ritchie Brothers auction,
Yes.
you mean?
Yeah.
I know we sold stuff, but I don't know the places.
I can't remember.
The best place to sell them, no question about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're looking at replace a chipper. We've had a chipper since 2003.
Yeah.
Poor condition, okay. Towable air compressor.
That's something where
What would we use that for?
in case if you get a strange water leak, like Main Street has about 8 inches of concrete under it.
For air hammer?
It depends on most streets around here you can dig through, but you've got some like North Street's a great example where they put a concrete sub base for some strange reason, so you have to have
Actually, it
jack
was
down
a
to it.
concrete road.
Probably one time.
Yeah.
One time it was a concrete road because it was the main road before Route 40 was built.
Mhm.
Then they put asphalt on top of it, so you got good 8 inches of concrete to get through, and usually,
Yeah.
Got
it's
it.
hammers.
It's hit or miss, you know what I mean, for the most part.
Just dig it.
Yeah.
It actually must,
What's that?
They use one, they're trying to get rid of 3.
You have it? You have it, Jeff?
You good? Air compressor?
Jack, an air compressor.
You don't have one this big.
How big you, we're talking about, you're talking a big unit.
He's got a tall one, like
Oh, no,
the
no, it's on the
shop,
trailer.
and he has a big trailer one, and he has another smaller one, and he won't get rid of everything.
I don't blame him.
What do you have to use it for? Jack, when he's fixing roads.
Hydraulic metal bending.
That's just something, yeah, it's something that the fabricator uses to make his, you know.
Ed Dow.
Yeah, Dow uses it. Is it critical? Not really, you know, to be honest with you.
Understand.
Yeah, that's right, I try to do what's what.
Until Ed Dow is not.
Put the two,
Well, I
metal tube.
I have to be realistic, you know, it's not like if it, you know, my department won't stop, you know, frankly.
That's what I figured. Okay, storm pond maintenance.
Ah, yes.
In fiscal 13, you had asked for 75,000, last 2 years 40,000 is what you've probably been cut back to.
Right.
And
The trouble with storm pond maintenance, again, it goes back to the WIP, because when it kicks in, we don't know what's involved with it. You could have to do survey, we just don't know. So that's why I keep the chunk of money right there, because when they implement it, you know, you need to survey it, you need to modify. And again, until that comes down to us, you know, that's just a big gray area, so that's the reason why. I
will
keep
you
it that
be
way.
able to maintain those stormwater management ponds this year with our personnel? I mean, you make the call, I mean, tell me.
I've got two, I'm looking at different options. I'm looking at an option of subbing for a portion of it, I'm looking at doing it in-house if we get the grass person, it all depends. So that's, I have to make that call. Will I maintain them? Yes. How I'll do it, it depends. I'm looking at two different options right now, so.
We kind of need to know option A and B.
Do you have a list of the ponds?
The number of the ponds.
That's what I'll
Did
chop
you
them up
see the
right now.
bid? Did you see the bids on the ponds?
You did, I wanted to. I don't know.
That's
No,
why I call it
after-
comprehensive.
After
Oh.
you started,
Oh.
after you started.
Okay.
And it was a huge difference between, now,
Good.
I took a look at the pond over where I live, and quite frankly, I was extremely disappointed. There's still,
By the group that cut it?
yeah, just along the fence, it just isn't right. There's still saplings.
That
And I'm-
would go down. They, you know, they finished it
Well,
last week.
there's saplings, there's stumps, excuse me, there's stumps, whatever.
Yeah, they're talking about
Yeah.
removing the stumps, yeah.
So I mean, so the problem is,
21.
when you try to cut the grass during the summer.
Oh, you gotta cut those all out.
Um,
I think
so
there's that
there's no-
motion.
How did they get the contract without it getting passed?
There is no contract.
Well, then how much are we paying them? What was the contract?
It
Was
was,
awarded to 22, right?
it was approved in the budget with the amount of money to cut the stormwater management fund. So he used this
I use
money.
this particular fund.
He used this fund, so he was budgeted $40,000 to
So
get
you
that
got
done.
130, you're using a 135 account.
Yes, that's all she said.
Yeah, there wasn't, so he's finding fit, and it
Well, what are
really
the
doesn't
prices
matter to me.
What are they doing now?
That's-
Oh, what they do now, they go to the town services, they're the ones that remove your snow, remove your snow too. Remove your snow, they actually work in the water crew also, it depends on case by case. A lot of times, the grass crew itself, you know, they convert to other things.
I think that's something that we need to give direction to Dan on, is whether we want our guys to maintain these or if we want to contract it out. And I'm very flexible. The main thing I want is to see it done. We're required to cut those stormwater management ponds twice a month, is my understanding, and we're getting them to them about once every 2 months, if that. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts. We have to get it done. And you got to tell us if our guys can get it done. If they can't get it done, then we.
You can't do it with just a couple people.
He sure can.
You
That was
can't,
problem
you're gonna have to have
before.
it.
Well, the thinking, my thoughts were initially was, let's get these contracted guys in there and cut the heck out of them, get them down, and then we'd be able to keep on.
That's the process, that's what we do with the initial cutting right now, so.
Are they about done?
They're about done, yes.
Do you know how many guys are on the crew?
Their crew or my crew?
You're there.
They fluctuate anywhere from 2 to 5, depends on the pond.
And how long has it taken them to do all of them?
Each pond's different. I mean, the whole thing probably about, probably a month and a half, I'm guessing, 2 months. months to look at. And this will dedicate to do that, so.
Well, we just gotta come to some agreement on that at some point here.
But the process, now, we do have some pricing from contractors to do it monthly and quarterly versus what we can do in-house. And we're in the process trying to evaluate to get the most effective way of doing it, so. That's why I'm not committal, because right now, we just got the second number, we're trying to see what makes the most sense. Without going over budget, so that's what I'm trying to figure out now.
Okay, street sweeping, it is what it is, that's what we've been paying for years.
Mhm.
Tree service,
That's a case by case, that's just in case, you know.
We cut some trees, but when we have large trees, we have professional arborists do it.
Mhm.
Because I don't want somebody getting killed.
Right, I understand.
Oak tree down.
and GIS mapping.
That's just updating the maps as we go. A lot of times we'll find, with the sewer and everything, when it's different, we just update the maps as we go, so.
All right, into the water fund. Well, listen, I want to go into the general fund real quickly. There's a few things that I wanted to talk about that I wanted to see in the projects. One, I didn't see anywhere in here the sidewalks for East Main Street. In
Well,
front
there's
of,
the curbs, gutter, sidewalks.
No, but I didn't specify the project out.
is it in here? Is that something that's in your project?
No.
That's one that I,
There's a good example of use KCI, because the actual sidewalk is on private property, which, you know, we can maintain. But the curb and the road is state highway, so we actually need to submit an engineering plan then with elevations and topography and all that in order to do it. That's why that's a complicated project. And we would take out the granite curb and put it back, we'd take out the brick and give it to Mr. Barnes and whoever, you know, is next to that, and then build that as a solid sidewalk with the trim. That's why we had a couple prices for that, but it was really expensive to do, unless we do it ourselves.
well, I don't have a problem if
Main
we.
Street.
How's that?
Main Street.
Main Street, right?
Yeah, we're talking about the
That's a
Methodist
major-
Church.
Main Street.
Methodist Church.
Now, we were able to replace the curb as part of the road restoration, so we took care of the curb at the first.
The curb looks fine. Where the brick, where the old brick is just, you can't.
Yeah, from
That's
Harry
not
Barnes
doing a
up
lot.
to Locust Lane has to be done.
Yes.
Right.
And I think we all kind of talked about that
Yes.
one evening in here, and it's been something that's been talked about, I know, for 10 years, and we've just never done it, and I'd like to see that done.
I think one of the reasons, you're right, this 20 grand wouldn't cover it.
No.
We wouldn't cover it.
Because we've had that number cut down, and even when we had your guy in here, 139 hours to do the thing, and on top of that, recommending something like 400 or 700 panels be replaced. That's so, $20,000 is no money to do that kind of work, but that's all we've been budgeted to use, so.
We could look into it, the bigger, if it's just this one particular project, yeah, we can beef it up and ask the board if we do something like that, if the board's interested, yes. We could try to do it in-house, but let's see how.
Well, I'd like to know what category that needs to be into, so.
Well,
I
that's the
can-
right category.
Yeah, yeah, right. You got the
State
category,
highway,
yes.
wouldn't he have to commit to some of it as well?
No, that's our law says we maintain sidewalks.
So,
And they already reminded
well,
me of
that's
that.
one we want to beef up, or I'll beef it up, and hopefully the board will approve it when they vote on this budget. And then secondly,
Yes.
the precision concrete guys that you were just talking about, is any of this put into the program? Certain streets, maybe we can do this as a, once again, a 5-year program.
Yeah, my recommendation for those, like I said at the bottom, I didn't include precision concrete cutting because I wasn't sure what the board wanted to do. What my recommendation with them is, I would budget, say, exactly, if you did everything they got, that'd be nice, but I don't think you need to that extent. I would break them down and give them, say, a pocket of money or something, and then find your worst spots downtown, if there are any humps, take out the humps and make them ADA compliant. I mean, if you start looking to the nth degree, that's a little bit different than what they would potentially be the most beneficial way. And they have those on purpose out front, so good.
Yeah, it was 139,000.
So I'm thinking about, I mean, you know, but that's if you look at everything. Now, if you start looking at what's the worst areas, I would focus on certain areas to see
It
what's
was on the
going.
worst areas that they
Yes.
looked at. They
Yes.
didn't look at all areas of the town. That's
the other issue too.
But you have differentials, like, it depends on your differential, you have a 5/8, you have a half or 3/8. You have 3/8, it all
Again,
depends
I
on
would,
how it
they're
works.
the professionals, I'd leave that up to them, but I would,
Right.
if that's something that we would wanna do, I want them to look at the whole town, not just
Mhm.
two different areas of the town.
That's why I did not include those numbers, that's why it's a little.
Okay, well, you answered that, and one of the other things that was kind of brought up during the summer last year, I noticed how we were spraying and weeding our streets, and one of the thoughts that kind of came up was, why don't we have like a little John Deere or a Rhino four-wheeler? You put the big pump tank in the back of it, and with a long hose that they could weed eat on both sides. So you'd have 6 o'clock in the morning when there's no traffic, they're going right down the street and they're hitting all the areas in town. And when the one guy gets tired of walking, they switch. But I don't see, I'd like to include something like that for if it's something that we think that could make our job better and make our town look better. Now, if it doesn't.
Like a gator.
Yeah, no, but you have a big tank.
No, we have a 250-gallon tank we can put in the back of a truck. We do have a little portable one, which we'll do in a
Yeah, I was
tailgate.
gonna say, a 250-gallon tank will go back of a gator.
No, I'm just saying, I can put one on the back of a pickup truck. I do have one that we bought. last
And
year.
also the movability around the stormwater management ponds. I thought that there'd be a way that they could go around them, I'm not gonna use weed killer everywhere, but you can use other products other than strong weed killers to kill some of these weeds per se, but.
You're talking about a John Deere gator?
Yeah, some type of- But if it would help, I'm saying I'm open to that. But if it's something that you don't think is of any value, then,
It has value, I'm just afraid, truck, I count for trucks, gators, I've had histories of gators in the past, they're great to use, but they always have a tendency to disappear, that's why.
well, I hope they wouldn't disappear.
I was on a job site in Virginia where they actually went out and just cut, it was amazing, they just cut the heck out of it and took the thing off, it was amazing. I mean, this thing was, we used it out of 200 acres.
All right, well, let's go on to the water fund.
Water fund, most of it I don't touch, most of it.
I think it's pretty, it was, yeah.
Is there any way
Sure.
that we can start coding what goes into the water fund? And I'm not saying that we can get everything, I'm not saying that there's no way that we could do that. But there's many times that somebody's doing a water main break or something to do with that it should be coded to that, the overtime hours coded to that. It's not, it's not
It is
hard.
coded now. All the,
It
like
would be
Jim,
hard.
they're all.
It would be hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, the employees are coded in one way, they're in effect hard coded, and they're paid however many hours they have their time sheet for that time period.
Right.
But to continually change their hours allocated to each thing, I mean, we start with an estimate at the beginning of the year, and
Maybe
we
not.
think it's a reasonable estimate.
Theoretically,
This-
it's
this
not
is
hard.
time. Yeah, but
Theoretically,
just
it's not
the
hard.
time
But
factor of
it is.
exponentially increasing time to process the payroll.
There's other towns that do it, and I'm not saying that this is something that we start this year. I am saying something that the board should think about, that we still use a lot of paper. That a lot of the towns moving forward is doing a lot of stuff electronically. Now, I understand it's a learning curve for certain people, and it's going to be an expenditure, but it's going to save time in the long run.
Okay,
And
we're
you're
talking
talking
about
about,
time.
Yeah, I'd say it's something, go back to
And
the
we
conversation
went-
on time clock.
Yeah.
And that was, we had touched base on time clock. a
And
number
then you're
years
gonna
ago.
rely on the public, I'm not being
And-
No, I got you.
negative, I'm just pointing out, you're gonna rely on the employee to code in every time they're at a job, in and out, into a certain department. And if the employee doesn't do it properly, then you gotta rely on an administrative person to do it. So it all comes here the right way. So he goes out from 8 to 12 on a water leak, he's gotta code in the water department, code out, then goes and does a street project. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not
That's how
saying
it-
it's not difficult.
Yeah.
I'm saying that it would.
I'm saying you just gotta hold your,
Time,
yeah.
time consuming.
but we can't do it now. We can't,
There is, and there's an easier.
Well, I know
way to
there's a
go, or
way.
maybe not.
There's a
There
way,
was time
but-
clock, but then there was the implementation problem, like you mentioned, and all the departments, whether they were
There's too
going to
many
use it.
departments. coming and
And
going,
it
I
was-
think, when we looked at it.
We looked at it very hard, we looked at it in depth, and it has to be compatible with our payroll system, which was a hurdle. Some of the ones we looked at found that they were not compatible with our payroll system.
The only thing I'm saying is you're asking me to vote on a budget that I can't account for all the money that's being spent to a particular thing. And some of the stuff is small.
Mhm.
We talked about coding for supplies or a central purchasing agent. You know, that person would know exactly where that's
All the
going.
Well, no,
supplies
no,
are paid
that's the only
accordingly.
something
All
good
the
is the
water and
requisitions
sewer
on it.
purchases are.
Yeah.
Well, and
Yeah.
that, again, that goes back to, I'm not just saying employee salaries, I'm saying the whole kit and caboodle as far as the truck. Are we sure that that truck is actually being used?
No, we don't, but we
50%?
have to charge it some way, at some
We
point.
talked
We're not
about
to
this.
keep journal entering it and changing charges from week to week.
I'm
You
not
know,
much of a naysayer. I mean, we were able
No,
to
we're
put
not.
people on.
We were
on
talking
Zoom
about the
and figure
advantages
out
or
how we can
disadvantages of
budget the
this.
money properly.
And
That's all
every
I'm
year
saying.
you would have such fluctuations possibly in your expenditures as to how that would affect what you couldn't change your rates every year to reflect that.
I don't think that you would have to change it, it would just be,
Well,
it'd be.
Well,
There's to
it
be
could be.
self-support, I mean, like,
Yeah. The rates are, the rate study is driven by.
It's going down.
Well, it has, it is down now, the water rate is down 11% right now for the first 30,000 gallons. But, you know, the rates are derived from how people's salaries are coded, how supplies are
I
coded, and,
pulled Patty Grace.
Yeah, call and talk to, I think his
No,
last
I
name
mean, I
is
pulled her
Daughter.
budget because I've been pulling budgets off of everybody, because if you could look at anybody's budget online.
Right.
So I've been pulling them, and I actually, I'm not saying anything, but ours is really, a lot's out there. Some towns just have a short version that are nothing. We're showing, you know, everything, we're very transparent. But I have Harry Grace's pulled, if it's something you want to look at.
Yeah, I called them, talked to them, talked to some other places. And I know it can be done, and there's other people that don't do it. I absolutely agree with you. Just it's keeping the accountability of the money that we're supposed to be watching, that's all. That's my biggest concern.
well, I mean, with additional manpower, I mean, quite frankly, that would be much more time-consuming payroll, which could be done with manpower.
Well, listen, let's move on and we'll continue these questions. I'm looking at your order fund, what you have. We can breeze through postage.
For the most part, water fund, I can make it quick for you. Go to page
Contract.
7, go to page 7.
Yeah,
Water fund contracted services other. What I'm looking at is, for this year, I need a water main replacement at Pennsylvania Avenue, which is in the Heights. There's a little section of water main which should be replaced. It's, the existing one's 2-inch galvanized. I'd like to replace it to either a
Park circle down, you mean, or?
Yeah,
Okay.
for a circle dead end, so I've got that. And I've also got 50,000 in there for valve replacement. And what happens is, as a long-term water project we'd like to do is, we've got areas in the town where we like to put insertion valves in for box tapping. Not only do you stop it, you have a new valve in there, so it can actually isolate big sections of town at a time. And again, you do it slowly as you go along. So initially, you could put one, you can isolate Kensington Courts from, from downtown, so these are the things. Existing valves you have down there now, some of them work, some of them don't, so as a long-term replacement, that's something that we should look at as a water department itself, long-term valve replacements. Just not everywhere, just for certain key areas. And as we go further along, we can actually start isolating a little bit more, so again, it's a long-term project.
you replace it, the valve and the water main, and we would use this would be part of the highway revenue paving project also for that year, wouldn't it?
No.
Or is this,
Not that water
is this in the road?
Yeah, if these are in the road, water fund would have to pay for it, road restoration, road utility patches are called.
So it would just be a
Right.
utility patch more so than,
Right.
okay, gotcha.
Right.
Very good.
However, if you had a number of utility patches that actually over time, like sank or weren't, uniform, you could go over that whole road and use HUR money then as a repaving project.
Right. Little bits at a time, we still, we do take out and we repair it as we go, like little water main breaks, but this particular one will be, a little on the bigger side, but it's not too big. Take out Blackwell, probably about 20 houses involved.
Okay,
Um,
that was the big one. Everything else is pretty simple, except until you get to the water meters themselves.
Yeah, if you go, exactly, go to page 15, just something I want to point out to the board is, if you look at the water meters themselves, since February 1st, I mean, my department has replaced 18 meters, just because they froze and are burst and all that stuff. And a typical, these are the little 3/4 inch meters. The 3/4 inch meters cost under $200 to replace everything. That gives you an idea. Now, this particular one right here, when you get the water meters, the bigger sizes, they cost a lot more money, so that's why it's, you know, this, again, we have no idea what's going on with it. You know, we have a lot of older meters in the town, a lot more bigger sizes, and you can almost keep this up in 3 big meters, you just don't know what's out there. So, again, these are just approximations as best we could.
We don't know how much we spent in 14.
What?
Do you know how much you spent in 96? I didn't.
Oh, for meters?
It's not on the.
Oh,
Like
this
it-
is
we
just
didn't
general
do
fund,
water,
this is just,
sewer.
That's Jennifer, right, yeah, yeah, I can,
you got it.
yeah, I got it, I have them. And again, this isn't just me, it's a lot of other, you know, Zach and other sources. What do you want, 30, which one do you want?
Oh, you just have the current year, you don't have the prior years.
No, I just have the current year, so
Yeah.
that's all I got.
No, we don't have that in front of us. Well, we spent older years in prior years.
That's what I'm talking about, coding stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, we do
No,
have.
we do,
it's
we
just
have
not-
it, I just don't in front of us.
I just
Okay.
don't
have a hard copy code.
It's not-
Okay, good.
No.
No, I'll look at
Okay.
14.
Dan has it
14.
here.
No, it doesn't have, you asked for prior years, how much. we
I just have this
spent.
year, I just have current
He
year,
doesn't
that's all I
have
have.
that.
Right.
We do track.
That's one of the problems that I would have
Sure.
looking at your budget is there's nothing to compare it to former years. You follow what I'm saying? Like, and I understand that water meters are a semi-fixed cost, right?
Yeah, what we've done in the past is the booklet that you're looking at now, the individual department budget request is just for the new year. When, in past years, see now with the mayor developing the budget, we have the history in front of us.
I can answer your question, hold on, I can answer your question, there you go.
Yeah.
I forgot, I do have this. You want, there you go, here's your last year. I'm good, yeah, of course I have that.
Okay,
I do have your answer.
Okay.
Water meters.
There we go. In 2014, well, what was the date of this?
This
I
is,
don't know the date of
no,
this.
right, actually.
Okay, we spent like $39,000 in 2014, we spent 10.4 in 2013, about 19,000 in 2012, about 9,000 in 2011.
And so in 13, you said 39.
That was actually the year.
Yeah, that's this year.
Yeah.
2014, we spent 39,000 so far.
Yeah.
Or-
Oh, and you had it here too.
13 was.
Right.
Okay, what you, oh, you put round numbers here, use your budget or?
Yeah, those are requests, that's the requested from
Oh, the
previous years,
request
that's
that
all,
year,
right.
yeah, so that's-
And again,
that's
a lot of times you just don't know, right. A lot of times, if you take like some of your bigger businesses, in fact, when we did the,
Oh, they're big dollars.
the 6-inch meter we replaced at the detention center, that thing was,
Gene, is your meeting in here?
Yes. 29.7?
I got it.
Yeah.
But
You
9,000 of it was
found
on the 6-inch.
Yeah, that's the one, yeah, that's the
Well,
one.
listen, I don't want to speed along these things a little bit, but I know we got to be out of here by 6 o'clock for a town meeting. But just real quickly on meters, I know that staff has been working with the meter folks.
Yeah.
One of our goals is to get these meters on more of a, we even looked at Wi-Fi signal meters where we didn't have to even. So what's unique about that is I believe that the guy said that we could even shut off the meter in
If
some
you take that,
cases.
yeah, you
Right.
could.
Because that's other issues that we got to talk about at a later date, about how much it costs us. The other day, we were out doing public works things. We had 5 water main breaks in the town of Elkton, and we have to dispatch his guys to deliver how many shut-off notices?
Oh, yeah, so we had to push.
How many shut-off
But you
notices?
still have to
Okay, yeah.
notify them of
Yeah.
pending shut
How
off.
how many shut-off notices?
Or,
They have to be pushed
or-
back,
this,
yeah.
right,
What did you get?
450.
It's over close to 500, so you got all this work going
The month
on,
before that was 700.
and it's very difficult
You can't
to,
schedule breaks.
it's very difficult.
Water breaks.
I guess everyone, but it would be unique if we had this system in place to where you still have to notify them, but the next go-round, all you have to do is hit a button,
Yeah.
right? It would be kind of unique.
If you want to spend that on that type of meter with that technology, yeah. It's true, there's a lot of capability out there.
Yes.
Because the business, these guys, when it comes to water, just, I'll preach for a second, that between the tags and the billing, they have, finance is a very difficult job because it's, normally if you send the bill out, it comes back, and you can process it, but it never works that way. Everything gets bunched up towards the very end, and a lot of times, just between getting the tags out and the guys getting the last minute, the extensions, there's a lot of work that goes on between our department and finance. I mean, there's an awful lot.
We need that credit card machine, there's somewhere where someone could pay with a credit card without paying $6.35 or whatever it is.
Well, that's not our fee, and that's not out of line with what the county is charging.
Yeah, we
Oh.
checked with other
Yeah,
areas.
we checked
It's
up
not
on
out
it,
of
it's
line.
not out of line.
Dan, the capital budget, is
Yes.
this capital budget, for your side, or is this
Yes.
something that Ken presents?
No, this is my side, this is strictly my side.
So you're needing, the replacement water van?
Yes, you still have a big white one that goes out there, you can see it. Again, it's, moving your equipment around to
That would be
access.
used for water.
Yes,
Yes.
this is a big one, yes.
The valve
There
exerciser?
you go. Lewis,
that-
talk about the valve exercise, there you go.
Definitely want to know. Because open and closing valves, you exhaust your people, I can tell you that.
How many, you'd have to have one dedicated person doing that
Oh my
exercise
God.
then, right?
We have a water crew themselves, yes, exactly,
So
yes.
you'd have one person going around every day.
But there is a
doing
tool
valves.
that does it?
Yeah,
Is that right?
yes.
We don't have a tool.
You'd have to, you would
Yeah,
actually
we got
have to add one more person to the
How
budget.
do we have
The
a
tool is
tool?
that-
I can do it that way. I was doing it as part of my 3 or 4 person water crew, but I could, if you want one dedicated person, you don't have that. Yes.
Yeah.
Whatever is really
That would be
appropriate.
Yeah, I agree.
How do you not call
The
it?
vacuum excavation system.
That thing's a beast. That was too big for us.
Oh, okay.
The valve, though, the vacuum, the system, what this is, presented to the board probably about 2 years ago. We have our vacuum truck, you love it, it's, but the vacuum truck's getting a little bit older, and instead of replacing the vacuum truck, they have a vacuum, excavation system, which does the same thing the vacuum truck would use on a smaller scale. All this would do is actually suck out the material over top, it would clean up valve boxes, but more importantly, it would be like a hydro excavator, where it would clean up to see what the top of the lines are. When that happens, then I wouldn't have to use the vacuum truck, it would save the wear and tear on the vacuum truck. That's your trade-off.
So to prevent from going through fiber optic cables and everything, soft dig, is that what you're talking about?
Yes, exactly. But right now, the vacuum truck does a soft dig up.
Yeah, I know, that's what I meant.
But this will, if we get this, then you'll need to put the vacuum truck in the middle. Vacuum truck can just do sewer leaks and it would extend the life of your vacuum truck. So again, that's your trade-off. So a little bit between both.
Okay, Ford dump truck allowed.
It ties in with the other one, with 320.
That's the same one, right?
Yes, sir.
So it's just a portion of the cost.
Right.
Okay, soil compactor, you need to.
Jump jack.
Okay.
Okay. 7 and 8, it's 7 and 8 are the big ones. Now, 7, this came out from a meeting we had with LV Water. We found some material where they do have some calibrated meters, which they can use to test in 3/4 and 1 inch residential, just by, you can actually hook up, it's an in-situ way of actually testing the meters. You've got one for residential, and you've got a bigger one for 8 inches for the bigger businesses. But you can actually do it without taking the meters off. I mean, they're not, if the board's interested in finding for water, just make sure the meter's actually reading versus replacing them. This is a way of doing it, just in place of calibration.
Can we recalibrate the meters that's on a residential house?
No.
No. So once they're out of calibration, they're done. But what this does, it'll test it to make sure. it's
This proves
calibrated.
exactly. A lot of times we'll get the call saying, my meter's wrong. Okay, and that, there's a load of questions.
And how often do we have to certify this testing meter?
It
Right
could-
now, we take them to RT.
No, you can use the tester, you can certify the
Tester.
So
tester.
this particular meter will come back, it comes calibrated. How often, I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I can research that information.
I think that's important to know. In most cases, it'd probably be at least on a yearly basis or until we feel it's out of calibration.
That's a Viva test.
Listening device, give me something about the listening device. What's that
The listening device. That's something I believe that Senator Trent brought this up at one of the meetings where how can I word this? They're determined leaks. A lot of times what you can do is you can determine, you can put some antennas between like a couple different valves and you can record it to see if you have any water leaking from the system between valve to valve. And this, you can actually use something like this to determine if it leaks, to see what water's coming out, if it's a lot or a little bit. And this would be a long-term device to see who the leaks are with your infrastructure.
Would help locate the leak
No,
also.
Yes.
that's what I was gonna say, because you have a
Yeah.
camera now, so what?
We used that the other night.
Yeah, well, we haven't used the other night. It's more valve to valve. This is something which was presented, from Severn Trent, and we just found out about it, so I just wanted to put it into the budget itself, but there's something that can actually be used. Actually, we have a sample, and Mark Turnbull has a sample, we're actually using it for 30 days to see how it's gonna work out, so that's why, I can report back to the board to see the example. We're actually gonna use it right now.
I know that this is
Yes.
when we were looking at doing our water audit, this was one of the items that was
Yes, sir.
presented to me, that you could put it from main to main.
Yes.
And you'd be able to tell if these laterals are.
Yes.
Laterals were leaking, and we
Right.
could find that leak.
That's why I didn't see it, see it work for myself, that's why I put it in.
Okay, raceway maintenance, I understand. Of course, we spent a lot of money on raceway maintenance, and
This is on the other side.
It's just the entry to the.
Yeah, we do that, it's about 25 or 30,000.
is this a norm every year?
Yes,
Is it
sir.
30,000?
Yeah.
Now, I did put, Severn Trent did talk about the gates to separate the stuff out, and then there is a cost in that, that's the 30K I put in for the gates. If you want to put the gates in there and you get to dam it up, check the bottom out, so that's why I did incorporate some cost into that one to see. if it
That's
works
the
for
twin
that.
gates?
Yes, sir. Now we can try to do it in-house, a little bit easier, it all depends. It's not as elaborate as the sluice gate, but it'll still work.
All right, sewer fund. Department 350, I'm looking at postage, that's all good. Travel, meals, advertisement, repairs and maintenance, small equipment, repairs to order. Is that kind of a norm, 41.5? Has that been adjusted?
I haven't touched it, I haven't touched it.
Okay.
The only one I touched was on page 13, under the 045 account. I'm proposing to align some sewers, existing sewers at Elkton Heights and Montrose Manor. So I'm assuming up to 100 grand on that, just to see what it covers.
I'm sorry, what account is that?
I'm sorry, 045, maintenance and names.
Sewer line.
Yeah, sewer line.
So would this line, is this in the same area where the water line was, the water main, or a different section?
Probably be a different section, I mean, it's, Elkton Heights. These are the ones where we find like small cracks, terracotta lines. There's companies that will go out and line it. It's a sewer. Yeah.
Did we line any sewer lines these previous years?
Yeah.
We did on Brown Street.
Well, you, before me.
Yeah, before you were here, we did Brown Street.
And I remember doing it years and years ago,
And they
so
actually
we
have a
haven't.
machine that comes in
Yeah.
and goes down, and then they put this material in it.
And this would be subbed out to a, bid and all that stuff.
Yes,
Something I won't do it now, so I won't do it now. I don't want to do it, so.
All right, and your operating capital, I see.
Just ties everything back
Portion
together.
again, portion and portion. All right.
There's nothing in here for major infrastructure.
Yes, sir.
Can I get a green bar on the 340 and the 350 account, please?
Dan, just to
Thank you.
ask you the same question, I know that we haven't put in the salaries and so forth into the program here. I keep talking about grass clipping pickup or not to pick up, and we also have, going into next year, we're gonna be doing putting out on bid our waste, our trash is being picked up. So there's gonna be some changes and modifications there, of course, that come into the big picture, because I think that falls under, where's that contract falling under?
Well,
For trash
350?
Yes.
taxes, it's general fund.
Yeah, from the general fund.
Hey, but 350, right? It's not.
330 is not
330,
required.
330.
If we decide on the grass clippings, I want you to let me know, will that allow you to get those stormwater management ponds cut?
I'll answer the question, yes.
Okay.
That frees up a lot of people. And
Okay,
then by freeing that up, you can actually see a lot of things as you go forth.
okay.
Hey, Rose, back in 2010, the department had up to 30 people, then they got cut back. Cut back to the current, I'm a full staff right now, it's at 32 people. At the same time is, I think if we grow smartly, I think with the existing people, I think we can do a lot more, than what the public sees. So that's,
Very good. Any questions for Dan?
Yeah, you're back up to full staff, right?
yes. The downtown guy, the other thing is that the downtown guy, John, who you all probably met, entered back in November, he'll make a big difference. I'm telling you, he does a very good job, and these are the things that we can do as a department, with makes the public notice us. He does a very good
I
job.
like that guy.
Yeah, he does a good job.
Very good. Well, let's get Gene Minner up here real quick.
Yes.
That's awesome for you.
I think we're ready to cry uncle at this point. My eyes are starting to glaze over.
Hey, Todd,
Yes.
the painters will be back on March 18th.
The 18th,
Have you checked on the house?
it's just through the cameras.
You don't see water coming down the steps?
No, I don't see any water dripping down the steps.
Keep your eye out on the
No, I'm
18th.
good.
Damn.
I'll watch for the 18th. and, You know, we're gonna have to reschedule something that we had planned on, so.
What's that?
How long the painter's gonna be in?
I don't think they'll be there that long. They had to let the
They were pretty
plaster
fast.
cure.
Yeah.
So I don't, they'll have to put a oil coat on. After the oil coat, let, takes 24 hours to dry, whatever, and then they put 2 coats of latex.
They said yes.
I would think about a week.
We're planning on like the second week in May, that weekend.
Oh, he'll be done.
But, yeah, we've got a lot to do
All right,
inside.
Gene,
We have to do.
Fire away here.
Okay.
So, I mean.
All right, Gene Minner.
Thank you for all the help.
I think we're getting wore out here.
4 hours.
I know, we're doing it. I looked at yours, item number 13, professional services is now under salary, so you answered a question that DJ was kind of asking before.
Thank you.
So we should have had Gene on first, but, so that's all falls under salaries now because of that. Travel and meals.
Downs for the Historic District Commission who's coming back. And Clara Campbell officially, but unofficially, it's Cameron Brown.
Do we give the check to Claire Campbell's name?
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
We do?
She
Okay.
does.
All right, the travel meals, I understand that one. Advertisement associated with the different ordinances that you put into the paper.
Public meetings, agendas.
One thing, okay, see something, no, okay. I was just gonna mention that the Guardian may be less money at times than the WIG over there. Now, I'm looking over there, I see Sam over there. She didn't hear me. She did hear me. But you might wanna, we got competition here, we got competition. But I love the WIG. Dues and subscriptions, this is part of your bettering your understanding of planning.
I included something that wasn't in here before, but Commissioner Jablonski had recommended it, a membership to the Maryland Economic Development Association. Nita?
Yeah, very, very informative. That for that membership, you get a lot of perks for their conventions and workshops and things.
And then the only other thing is, I just received a bill today from an organization that wanted me to join the Maryland Association of Historic District Commissions. It's always good to have your commissioners that are on different boards belong, just like Maryland Citizen Planners Association, my planning commission and the Board of Appeals are both members of that, and they disseminate information and provide training opportunities for the boards. So I may have to modify that and add another $125 for the Maryland Association of Historic District Commissions.
Okay.
If that's okay with you.
Let's see, repairs and maintenance, routine maintenance, you got one vehicle that you have, or do you share that with someone?
If, for instance, Michelle needs to use a vehicle to go deliver packets, I have no problem with anyone using the vehicle. When the building department lost a vehicle due to an accident, I shared it with one of their building inspectors or the code enforcement gentleman. So it's mainly my department, but I have no problem with anyone else using it who needs it.
Contracted services, that of course, we've been going along with that, that's the machines. Engineering costs, this is pretty much the cost to KCI.
For not only reviewing plans that come before the Planning Commission, but also for such things as grant applications, when I have to have cost estimates done to apply for a grant, the bid documents that have to be developed. They developed those for me. And they, they provide a variety of engineering such as civil, transportation, planning and sewer and water. I use them a lot.
How much of this is recouped out of that 45?
I am not positive. I would have to ask Steve if he could give an idea
Yeah,
of
we
that.
don't have the revenue numbers in front of us.
Right, so I'm not sure. I can tell you that we probably recoup less than what we're paying out.
Mhm.
I think the county charges a lot more for review fees than we do, but I know that there's always been, the position of the town was to try to work with developers and not make it so hard to develop and so costly, so.
Understand. And a lot of this is for our own use at times too.
Oh, right.
Grant
correct.
applications and so forth.
Exactly, yeah.
Office supplies, got it. Minor equipment, updates for computer work, got it. Training and education, got it. Maps, that footprint, that's the big one. Comes back to page 12, the
Master.
copies of the Elkton zoning ordinance, consultant fees, and this is,
This is sort of a catch-all for a variety of things. For instance, tonight, we're going to have the representative from JMA appear before the Historic District Board to start work on the downtown design, or the Historic District design guidelines. So his fees will be paid out of this. We had, I think, the lights were replaced in town. I think there was some money that needed to supplement that. It was $11,000, so we had to pay towards that, and I believe that that was gonna come out of this. Any type of grant match that we need, I try to make sure that I have something in here for match, because sometimes the grant applications will come out during the course of the year, and the turnaround time for applying for them and starting the grant is a pretty short period of time. They want you to use the money. Well, you've got to, a lot of times, match that with something, a certain percent, 20%, 25%, sometimes more. So you got to make sure that you're ready for those grants when they come around. So I try to keep some money in here for that sort of thing.
very good. My last question. Is there anything that you need that would make the residents of the town, that we could serve our residents better? Is there anything that we're missing at this point?
No, I think we're, for the small department, just myself and Terry, I think we do a lot with the two people that we have. And plus, we get a lot of support from all the other staff too. I would probably like to see something in the way of a short-term planning document. We have the comprehensive plan, which is broad-based and it's for a number of years, 10 years out. It would be nice to have something more concise and smaller, like a capital improvement plan, where the public knows these are the projects that are coming up and this is what we're going to look to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so we allocate, we focus the resources
Mhm.
on those. It helps give me direction as to where the board wants to go, so I can focus my energy on that.
I think.
That's a great idea. In fact, I was going to bring that up. That was one of my things, because if we even did a 3-year strategic plan, the town, I mean, just to get us, just get us going in something, a guideline for where we want to go.
Because we have a lot of projects we can do, but it really helps if we can focus, if we can prioritize and focus on the ones we want to start moving forward with first.
Right.
And Mary Jo, you mentioned that under the last administration, and we never did accomplish that, so.
Mhm.
Well, very good. Any other questions? Thank you, Gene.
Did Gene do anything bad?
Do we want to fly through administration, finance, and HR, or do we want to call it a night?
Or is there any
Have any
questions
questions?
on?
Well,
There's nothing new in there.
Okay, I'm going to breeze through it here real quick. It looked like everything was kind of cut down to me, actually. Telephone, if there's anything that sticks out, let us know. Professional services, travels and meal. Lou, I see where on page 3 you didn't put any travels and meals for the administration.
Well, if I travel, I use the company truck, and if I eat, I pay for it myself.
Okay, very good. What about your MML? This MML would not?
That's separate.
That's separate, okay, very good. Advertisement for, what would that be?
Ordinances, notices, resolution, public hearings.
Okay, dues and subscriptions, understand, okay. Repairs and maintenance, the only comments that I would like to see in the,
My 202 Expedition.
yes,
I'll buy,
on
I
page
don't know if I
6.
can buy 2 tires with that or not, but anyway.
Well, on page 6, building maintenance, I think that we need to have something in the building maintenance fund here, whether it's carpet cleaning, you know, and I have to say, I spoke to Jimmy a little bit, he needs a couple pieces of new equipment.
Yeah.
Polishing equipment. Oh, it's not under
That's
that
a
one?
different department.
Okay.
So we can talk to you.
All right, very good, I want to get to that side.
That's just my vehicle.
Vehicle, okay, $300, well, are you in need of a new vehicle?
Yeah.
Nah, it's fine.
Did you say yes?
I love my vehicle.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Only got
Is your
50,000
dashboard
miles.
falling on your lap yet?
Huh?
Is your dashboard falling on your lap yet?
Oh, like next year.
Jeez,
That's
next year, really, I.
It's a little shaky
can't
piece of
wait to
equipment, if you
right
ask
on
me.
my lap.
That Stratus thing.
Okay, page 7, contracted services, I follow that. Page 8, virtual town hall website.
Their website? That's the town's website.
Right, that was like a three-year plan, a 3-year payment plan. There's initial cost and there's the maintenance. That's the new website.
So this is already committed.
It says
Oh, oh,
process,
yeah.
this thing
Okay,
is gonna be
okay, well,
searched.
I'm kind of new to it, and I
And
didn't,
the
Yeah,
IT.
it's fairly new.
okay, gotcha. Engineering, I see that.
ECI.
Office supplies, hey, you got too many paper clips in here.
Yeah.
Oh, I wanted to. Oh,
You stole your thunder.
Did I?
you went too bad. You didn't do it.
You stole your thunder.
Oh, geez.
We're using my paper clip.
We recycle, we remake
Minor
them if we need
equipment,
to.
everything looks good. MML expenses, this is just for you, correct?
Yeah, my
Okay.
question here, Dolores, do you or Steve ever attend any workshop, seminar, anything updated with your jobs?
I do.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
I know you guys are experts, but there's always time to have a little change,
We
learn
conduct
something
it
new,
when we
learn
go,
something
and,
different. Pardon?
He
We
does.
conduct it when we go away, we are experts, not only kidding, of course. I do, when it's in a different department, not in here.
Well, Lou, I know that
And
you,
guys is MML expense.
I know you do yours at MML, but if there is any management conferences elsewhere, of course, it might always be something to take a look at. I think that's what you're
That's exactly.
All right, finance, let's see, was there anything else in the administration side that I wanted?
Uh,
So, no, I guess not. Finance, accounting services, this is all pretty,
Annual audit.
this is
yeah,
all,
These are all.
you guys didn't change anything. Travel, meals, advertisement,
30.
which
With
one?
department number 130, that's correct.
Yeah, there's 30, no. 30 was the only big change that I saw.
Okay, let's get to 30. Insurance funds, repairs and maintenance.
Service.
Repairs and maintenance, what was that?
What's the line item, what's the last 3 digits?
20.
I
27.
think we might have had some
Oh,
printer
27.
cut, like IBM stuff that wasn't covered under contract.
Yeah,
15,000?
Page 19.
yeah, we requested 500, but that was for a printer, I think.
I think
Okay.
it might have been not covered under contract.
All right, I see the contracted services on page 20, 21, contracted services, supplies on 22, everything looks good. There's the conferences you were talking about on page 24. Service charges could be, that's the service charge that we pay out, but we also collect back.
No,
that's
no, that's the
just not-
fees we're charged
For a
for people to
12-month
hold
period.
our money. There are fees, in addition to not getting much interest, there are fees that we're charged. That's the new world of banking. There are fees.
So they're
that
charging
we're
us
getting
fees.
Absolutely.
to do banking.
They charge us more money than we earn in interest, though.
No, that's just
not a
a police
business that's
pension.
charging you
Huh?
fees.
That's just a police pension.
Oh, okay, that's
I think that's crazy.
That-
Crazy.
well, that's the world.
Yeah, it is.
That's the world.
All right, page 26, unemployment claims, professional services.
Oh, you're into,
I'm into HR. Travel meals looked all right, 29 after, on page 30. I'm moving fast. Which page did you say there was an issue with,
32.
TJ?
No, that was back 14,000. That was back on,
under finance or
under
It
finance.
was under finance.
What page?
Count 030.
We put more money in there now because our the software we use, the
Hmm.
accounting software, There are some areas that we can make some changes to, like the bills, we're talking about doing something different with the bills and
So
adding
water
comments.
bills, so about the water bills.
Well, that
Okay.
would be under water and sewer, but a person that previously worked there left, and now they're back, and we have much more confidence in them and making some changes to their software, or possibility, some of the queries we want written that I'm not capable of, that he could do.
Okay.
And we didn't have that confidence the last few years, and he's come back to the organization, so I think we'll utilize them more.
Oh, this is.
And actually,
That's the guy that left and came back?
Yeah.
to jump ahead to your final question, we know we're looking at, not looking at now, our software
yeah.
is,
Outdated.
yeah, outdated. That word is outdated, and we will have to go to a new platform here. And nothing's in danger of failing now. We have
No.
it's solid, doesn't have the flexibility, usability, and ease of use that newer systems have, but it works, and we know we will be looking fairly shortly at replacing that, which would be obviously a major project. But it's nothing requested in this year's budget.
Fairly shortly, meaning by next year's budget?
I
Possibly.
would think, you know, I mean, it could
But
be.
you
I
had
mean,
mentioned,
yeah, I mean, we would have, it would be, we'd have to look at other towns, what they use. This is a real good system, this is a system I used for the county, 30 years ago. But it is old, and we have to look around other systems, other towns, what they are using. One to do water and sewer billing, that we need the capability of. And there's some flexibility in newer programming that there isn't in this. So this software is kind of in its
Right.
oldie.
Understand.
you mentioned
The winter-
using
We're
all
with
the
you. I trust
for
you.
the requisitions.
Yeah.
But I know when we get a new software, they'll submit them electronically and be
Yeah,
approved
that will all be
electronically.
tied into.
But we
that's
don't have that
So much
capability right now.
more efficient.
Oh, yeah.
and-
Well,
It's
it's
true.
still, you have to depend on the department to submit it to
Well,
be
Well, then we
approved.
get somebody that can actually run the department and do it properly.
Well, that's strong words, but.
But, I mean, that exists
But
around.
it would, you're right, I mean, you know, places have electronic requisitions and approval, done electronically, that's absolutely true.
So much easier.
Okay, the one that stands out to me is page 32, the HR. Are we very satisfied with the HR consulting services? Is this something we want to maintain, or is this?
Top notch.
Real good.
All right.
And you're paying top notch.
In fact,
No, I'm
that's what
just
we
saying, is this
budgeted.
something we should continue, or should we bring a body back in?
No, I'd stick with her.
Okay.
I'd stick with her for a while.
Yeah, and what it budgeted
Better
is for her for 2 days a week for the full year.
If
Very good.
22
I'm
days,
okay with
I'd
that.
say.
Yeah.
Page 35, training and education, tuition, reimbursement for terms of employee handbook. Is this new?
No.
That's for the tuition reimbursement,
Yeah, yeah.
training and all that. I don't think they use it much, but it's there.
Oh, yeah, please.
It's not Mallory's one who used that a lot.
There's several
There's
places.
several
Jim,
times.
Mike,
Lewis.
huh?
Mike Lewis.
All right.
Yeah, Mike Lewis.
Oh.
Very good. Now, listen, now let's go to the mayor and commissioners. On the green bar, real quickly, a couple of things that kind of stand out to me that I just want to make note.
You think there's no book on that?
I want to make note. It's on the green bar.
Bookless?
No, well, we don't do that, we don't do that.
I want to make sure that account number 053, the employee awards and Christmas expenses, that was one item that we were way over budget on. That was my fault. But we were able to pull that from a couple of these other ones that you'll see that is where we pulled it from. But in the future, I'm going to definitely raise that item up a little bit. Probably it'll be around the $7,500 figure is what I'm going to shoot for. The MML events and expenses will stay the same. Economic development, I truly believe that that's going to go up, and it may go up a lot higher. So I don't know a number in my head. I just want some input from the group here. It can be at any point, but that's a number that I think that we need to continue to invest in our town. The MML chapter dinners, I think we have it, there really was no number, because I don't even think we probably have a chapter
We don't
dinner
host it
scheduled.
every year.
We may not even have one.
It's only when we host it.
So we need to know though, but we need to know for 16 whether we're doing
Well,
it.
you have revenue too that offsets that expense.
Scholarship fund, are we happy with the scholarship amount? Okay, very good. In general, I asked Louis and Steve the other day, both collectively. The employees hadn't received any type of merit increases or anything in the last over 3 years that I'm aware of by Off Green Bar. I want you all to think about, is it time? Should we make that merit increase up? I'm asking staff to give us some recommendations on yay or nay, and it doesn't have to be now, but I just need some type of response back to us so that when we plug these numbers in, we'll know. The other things that I want to make sure that I'm gonna put into the budget, and once again, I want them all put in here, and then we're gonna see where it tabulates, and then we make our decision on where we start to hack and to cut to make it based on revenue based and so forth. But, you know, the audio system that we talked about on Main Street and Howard Street and throughout North Street is something that I'd like to attempt to move forward with also. I also want to make sure that we look at the improvements in this room. I don't know when this carpet was cleaned, but quite frankly, I'm a little embarrassed by it. I don't know if we have the equipment to do it or not do it, but I think it's something that we need to do.
And it's been around since the life of the building. I just wondered if it's time to go.
It may be time for a new one. Let's get some pricing on some of the carpet and general repairs for ourselves. I know the police department has a lot more traffic than what we have in this room, and that one carpet's pretty well beat up. The foyer area, when you first come into the building, it's been a legacy of leaking around that atrium. I remember when we put those tiles down. We put the tiles down because we had terrazzo. We had terrazzo flooring that was not shining properly. The contractor failed, so he came back and he said, we're gonna put these tiles down. Quite frankly, the tiles lasted pretty good amount of time. It's been 14 years or 15 years since those tiles have all been put in. But I think around that foyer area, I think it may be time to either pull them up and put some new tile in and give it a different look or a replacement.
You mean out here, the flooring?
Yeah, the flooring when you first walk into the door.
No, I thought Jim had that shined up pretty good. I
I
thought.
think the salt just picks it up in a second. You could have that shining like a miracle one day of salt out there.
And maybe the answer is we just strip it down and get him the equipment to strip it down and put a little more effort into it. I know it does a good job, but I don't think he has the right equipment to pull, what do you call it, to strip it.
Yeah.
He was telling me that the salt's coming right out of the cracks. When you use that stripper, it just continually keeps bringing it out of the cracks of the tile out there. And you can actually see the white lines in it if you take a look at it.
Yeah, that's all I can say.
But those are some things I want us to take a look at. But I think the key thing here is the economic development side of it. One, I want to know if the board wants to move forward with our own full-time economic director, or do we want to continue to fund the alliance? Do we want to add more money into that program? I need some feedback. I know which way I'm leaning, but I do want some feedback so everyone's on the same page. Very good. Any questions, comments? This meeting's adjourned. He's back.
I'm back.
Yeah, they finished early.
What are you gonna do along the side of the trees to cut down? It served as a beautiful site when it was in season, but now you just got a plain whatever. What is somebody's thought on that?
Yeah, we're putting cherry trees out there, Charlie.
How high they gonna go?
The concept of it, they should never really grow as high as the power lines, but Gene, you can answer it a little bit better than me, or we just divide, it might be a 20-year plan.
Yeah, cherry trees are a smaller understory tree, the Kwanzaa cherries.
Right.
They're similar to what they have in Washington DC, although they have a variety of different cherry trees in Washington DC. But the goal here was to get something that was flowering and beautiful, but also did not drop fruit on the cars. And the trees that we currently have
Right.
were actually damaging our new vehicles
Right.
through the town. Because it was leaving, we couldn't get them clean, couldn't get the white cars clean. So hopefully the Kwanzaa cherries are fruitless and they won't drop anything and they'll look pretty in the spring when they bloom. They tend to be a smaller tree, but no matter what tree you plant out there, if it lives long enough, it's gonna grow into the power lines and then you've gotta replace them.
Okay, thank you. I can trust you, you do a good job more so than Laura.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
This is my man.
I passed around the timelines and a copy of the resolution for Elkton Gas, and I'm going to produce at the meeting next week. So we're moving on that annexation